but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. There's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. Wake up with WURD and Solomon Jones. WURD. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with WURD. And we are heading towards week's end. It is, of course, Thursday, which means we'll be hearing from Jay McCalla today about everything going on politically. But I wanted to talk about a group that I am very impressed with, very proud of, not surprised at all. The Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium. Turns out that they are outpacing the city in terms of vaccinating Black residents. And, you know, that's a function of trust. That's a function of organization. That's a function of experience and knowing what they're doing, stepping in when it wasn't easy, learning what the barriers were, and learning how to overcome those barriers is really what Black folks have always done. Dr. Eli Stanford has done a phenomenal job, and I am just really looking at that organization and saying that really it needs to be not only a model for the city, but it needs to be a national model. Now, that's a great thing, but one of the things that we've experienced this week, man, is loss, and we have now lost Tony Brown. Tony Brown, a longtime radio legend in the city of Philadelphia, someone who just influenced so much in terms of how we looked at love and how we looked at life and how we looked at music. You know, Kawesa, when you heard about Tony Brown, what'd you think?
You know, it was sad. Like, I think that for me, I'm numb because of just everything that's happened this week. You know, really this weekend into this week, and you know, and he was in radio for 45 years or more. And so the fact that he just like transcended like so many generations, I listened to him growing up. Yeah. You know, and so it's hard because of the fact that we have so many icons. We have so many, you know, people who have contributed so greatly to the community, to Black folks, to just our culture, right? And so, you know, anytime, and it's so funny because there's a lot of Tony Browns, right? Like there's a lot of them, but when I think of Tony Brown, I think of the Tony Brown. I think of Quiet Storm. That's who I think of. That's like, to me, I know it's messed up. I'm sorry, the other Tony Browns. I apologize because I know there's a few of you. But, you know, when I think of Tony Brown, I think of Quiet Storm. That's immediately what I think of first. And so, you know, I just, you know, prayers are going out to his family. Prayers are going out to, you know, the people who knew him well. You know, this really is, it's a hard time for folks in Black media. It really is. Yeah,
it really is. And, you know, our radio icons are leaving us, but thank God they leave a history behind. Cody Anderson passed this week, and we'll never forget what he gave us in terms of mission and vision and voice. But yesterday we lost another kind of voice. Tony Brown, who hosted the Quiet Storm for much of his 50-year radio career, died after a long illness. But the music he left us, the peace that he left us, the memories he left us are many. Because Tony Brown played the kind of music that made you think of someone special, made you wish that they were here. It made you remember your heartbreaks and long for the one who made you smile. But in between the music, there were pearls of wisdom and drops of faith. There was the smooth voice of a brother who understood what you were going through and where you were going to and where you had been. And now, after so many years of music and life, Tony Brown can walk into a quiet storm of his own. We'll miss you, brother. Thanks for giving us the kind of music that should always have love. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with WURD. Political commentator Jay McCalla breaks down this week's insanity on Capitol Hill. Inquirer education reporter Kristen Graham has the latest on discussions around opening Philly schools. Plus, Munira Higgs and Linda Shockley share the rich Black history of Longside, New Jersey. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065, a toll-free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at forward. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one, a 22-year-old West Philadelphia man was expected to be charged Wednesday with raping a 55-year-old woman in the bathroom of the Center City Macy's after police said he waited in a stall for 20 minutes, jumped into the woman's stall when she walked in, attacked her while brandishing kitchen skewers, and threatened to kill her. Jalil Ukda was arrested at his home Wednesday morning and will face charges including rape, aggravated assault, and robbery. According to police, it was not immediately clear if he had a lawyer. Police said the crime occurred Sunday around 11:30 a.m. at the department store in the 1300 block of Market Street across from City Hall. The woman's husband was in the store on a different floor, police said. Ukda walked out of the Macy's around 11:40 a.m., took the SEPTA Market Frankfurt line to 52nd Street, took the bus to 52nd and Girard. Authorities said surveillance video captured him at many points along his route. Police on Tuesday published several surveillance video footage on YouTube showing clips of the suspect leaving the store. He was arrested after a tipster called detectives and said they recognized Ukda as the suspect. District Attorney Larry Krasner said they're going to throw the book at him. And so here's the thing, man. Good job, Philadelphia Police Department. Good job, Philadelphia Police Department. Good job, Philadelphia Police Department. And good job to that tipster who called and turned him in. This is how this thing is supposed to work, right? We got cameras all over the city. If you on SEPTA, you on camera. If you walking down the street past a store, you're on camera. If you walk past some people's houses, you're on camera. And so the same way that this was solved, the same way that the media paid special attention to it, the same way that this story was out and about and everybody knew what happened, we were looking for this guy for this heinous crime, the same way this worked is the same way that it should work with these murders. Good job on this one, Philadelphia Police Department. Let this one be a blueprint for us and for you on how this thing's supposed to work.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, this is what needs to happen, Philly. Like, this is really what needs to happen. You know, you're not snitching, you're protecting your community. You know, and that's what I think that people need to understand and recognize. You know, I know that, you know, we got brothers and sisters and cousins and friends, you know, that we don't want to turn in. But guess what? You know, those folks will take people's lives. Those folks will rape. Like, we have to make sure that we are protecting the greater good of our people. You know, yeah, when we love our families, we do. We love them. But at the same time, if they doing stuff that's wrong and out of pocket, call them out on it. You know, you need to. And so, yes, this is how things need to be done. I'm still trying to figure out how come, you know, a lot of times we don't have video surveillance of other things. But, you know, we'll talk about that later. But this is exactly what needs to happen in cases like this.
Absolutely. Which brings me to story number two. A close ally of Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene took part in the January 6th mob at the Capitol and said he was among those who eventually made their way into the building. Greene, a freshman congresswoman with a history of promoting dangerous and violent conspiracies and comments, encouraged the big lie that the election was stolen from former President Donald Trump by voting to object to the election certification and fanned the flames of the insurrection by telling her supporters to, quote, fight for Trump. In tweets after the Capitol insurrection, Greene falsely suggested that those who had broken into the Capitol were not Republicans and instead falsely implied so-called Antifa dressed as Trump supporters were to blame. In fact, Anthony Aguero, a conservative live streamer, activist, and associate of Greene, said on video following the January 6th assault, yeah, it was me. Don't be trying to say it was Antifa. This is what he said. We were all there. It was not Antifa, and it was not Black Lives Matter. It was Trump supporters that did that yesterday. I'm the first to admit it, being one myself. I walked amongst those people, he added, later defending entering the Capitol. Greene and Aguero have worked closely together over the years on causes like immigration and the border wall and have attended pro-Trump rallies together. I wish, Kawesa, they would stop lying.
Yeah, I wish they would stop lying. And also, I am appalled. I am really trying to figure out how this woman still has a job. I still, I don't, maybe I don't understand. I'm not going to sit here and say that I understand everything, but I feel like, there should be some kind of code of ethics, code of conduct somewhere in regards to, when you're swearing in, when you're taking your oath to be a representative of the people, and you're over here participating in terroristic activity, or at least supporting terroristic activity. No, she needs to lose her job. She needs to face consequences, because she is part of the reason why you have people out here acting a fool, and why people lost their lives.
Yeah. And I think she probably was amongst those who was giving them tours, showing them where to go, showing them where different people's offices were. I think that all of that is going to come out. The question is, what will be the consequence, man? I want to see handcuffs. I want to see prison bars. I want to see all of that, because that's what they did. What they did was a crime. People died. People are dead because of their lies. You know what I mean? And you saying all of this, oh, it was Antifa, oh, it was Black Lives Matter. People wasn't even black. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? Crazy stuff. But this is where we are now, where we have people on one side of the aisle who are just willing to just openly, just blatantly lie all day, every day. This cannot be our society, man. We can't let it be that. We can't allow it to be that. You know what I mean? Because it's like we living in a George Orwell novel. Which brings me to story number 3. The Baton Rouge Police Department is investigating an arrest captured on video Sunday that appears to show an officer wrapping his arm around the neck of a black teenager. Sharon Westbroom, the mayor-president of Baton Rouge, said in a statement that the incident involving a 13-year-old is a concerning encounter that warrants a prompt, transparent review. No. It warrants a prompt arrest. This is what I'm saying. Stop, man. Stop with this nonsense. Stop backing these people up when they doing stuff to us, man. Baton Rouge is the same place where they killed Alton Sterling. Where the officer who did it was the son of a captain and another supervisor in the department. He had connections. He shouldn't have never had the job in the first place because of his record. But, we'll talk about all of that later. But what I'm saying is this, that they have to stop backing up these people when they do this stuff to us, man. Stop backing them up. Stop talking about, oh, we got to investigate. What is it to investigate when you see it on camera? You see what he did. Why are you putting a 13-year-old child in a chokehold? Why are you putting anybody in a chokehold? That's how they killed Eric Garner. Why are you doing that? And then you wonder why people are angry. Then you wonder why people don't believe that you are there for justice. Then you wonder why in our community we looking at you with the side eye. Because of this. And then when it happens, what do you get from those who are in charge? Oh, we need to get a prompt, transparent review. Knowing you lying, knowing it's not going to be transparent, knowing it's not going to be prompt, knowing you're going to try to run out the clock, all of that. I don't want to hear it. Arrest him. Because you have no reason whatsoever to choke a 13-year-old child. Why are you doing that? Baton Rouge Police Chief Murphy Paul reviewed the footage, but a decision has not been made on disciplinary action for the officer seen in the footage, Broom said during a news conference on Monday. According to the police chief, officers responded to a disturbance call Sunday and were able to de-escalate the situation. No arrests were made at the time. About an hour later, officers were called to the same location where they took 2 juveniles into custody. One was charged with battery of a police officer, while another was released to a parent. In a video shared on Twitter on Sunday, an officer appears to pin the 13-year-old to the ground with his arm around his neck as a crowd of onlookers urge him to get off of the boy. Someone repeatedly yells, "You're choking him." Footage shows the officer loosen his grip before placing the child's hands behind his back. NBC News does not know what happened before or after what's shown in the video, and authorities have not released the officer's name. The Baton Rouge Police Union and Ron Haley, an attorney for the child's family, did not respond to a request for comment on Tuesday. Haley told The Advocate, the local newspaper, that the teen was released from juvenile detention Sunday night. He called for authorities to release body camera footage, which Broom said would be available to the family on Monday. Why are you choking a 13-year-old child? You know, and these cases, man, they're in my head now because I've been writing about them. And when I think about this, I think about Eric Garner, choked on a corner on Staten Island. When I think about this, I think about Tamir Rice, 12 years old, shot by the police, talking about he looked like he was 20. When I think about this, I think about all of the prosecutors who were supposed to be prosecuting these cases who were acting more like defense attorneys for the police. When I think about this, I think about the systemic racism that allows people to think that they can get away with this because they do. I think about the fact that even when punishment is meted out, even when the lawsuits are settled, right? It's not coming out of the officer's pocket. It's coming out of yours. It's coming out of mine. It's coming from the taxpayers. We pay for their negligence, for their misconduct, for their abuse, for their violence, for their wrongdoing. We pay for that. They don't. So why should they stop? Why should they stop when they get fired and then an arbitrator gives them their job back? Why should they stop when they get, as Officer Frank Garnback did, right? He was the guy who was driving the car when Timothy Loman shot Tamir Rice. They drive the car right up to Tamir Rice, jump out, and in less than 2 seconds, Loman, who again shouldn't have had the job in the first place, kills Tamir Rice. Garnback gets a 10-day suspension. They take it to arbitration. He gets a 5-day suspension for being involved in the murder of a black child. You know, all of this, man, it's systemic. And what it says to them is, you can get away with this, so go ahead, go all out, go ahead and do it. Why are you choking a 13-year-old child on the ground? And you a grown man, twice his size. Why are you doing that? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in and let us know where you are on these various things that we are talking about on this morning show. You can, of course, also weigh in on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about. Good job, Philadelphia Police Department, on the arrest of this rapist. We appreciate your work on that. Let it be a boilerplate for what we do going forward on these serious crimes in the city of Philadelphia. And we need to talk about what happened in Baton Rouge. Because if you would choke a 13-year-old, what would you do to a grown man who was unarmed? If you choke this 13-year-old and they're talking about, oh, we need to have a transparent review. We all saw it on video. Oh, we don't know what happened before, after. Look, I don't want to hear that. Why are you choking a 13-year-old child on the ground? We need to talk about it on the other side. 215-634-8065. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Attention WURD audience, do you know that you can get help with your PICO energy bill? PICO is here to help you with financial help through various assistance programs, including the PICO CAP program, which provides a monthly credit for eligible low-income customers based on the customer's total household gross income and energy usage. If you are experiencing financial hardship, you may qualify for the PICO CAP program.
And PICO Cares is the customer assistance and referral evaluation service designed to assist special needs, low-income customers who have a temporary personal or financial hardship that prevents the payment of your PICO energy bill. If you have a special needs child or adult in your care, your household may qualify for the CARES program.
Call 1-800-774-7040 today to see if you qualify due to an existing situation or a change in circumstances within your household. Call 1-800-774-7040 today for more information on the PICO CAP or PICO CARES program. PICO, powering our communities.
Are you tired of eating the same thing day after day? Is ordering takeout starting to get a little old? If so, then give Premium Nutrition Meals a try. With Premium Nutrition Meals, you get to select new entrees each week from several different menus, all chef-crafted, freshly prepared, and delivered right to your door. Just go to PremiumNutritionMeals.com to order to earn rewards today. WURD listeners receive $10 off orders of 6 meals or more. Enter code PREMIUMWURD at checkout.
The WURD Radio Newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDRadio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax-Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio Newsletter. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
A jam up on the Schuylkill Expressway, and this report is sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $4. The Schuylkill eastbound barely budging the boulevard to Spring Garden Street. A 7-minute delay just due to volume. 95 southbound delays, Cottman to Bridge Street. The highway down to those 3 lanes due to construction. Southbound again jamming up Allegheny to Girard. The Vine Expressway westbound slowing 8th Street to Broad Street. The boulevard southbound delays right through the construction zone. Broad Street to Wissahickon. On the Ben Franklin Bridge westbound heading to Philadelphia. That's a slow ride. The right lane is closed due to road work. 55 northbound barely budging north of Deptford to the 42 freeway. Have you been wronged by bad breakfast? Get the breakfast you deserve with Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $4. Pick 2 fresh breakfast sandwiches for just $4, like their honey butter chicken biscuit, classic sausage, egg, and cheese, or classic bacon, egg, and cheese at participating Wendy's for a limited time. Single item at regular price. For more traffic information, go to SigAlert.com. I'm Ann Evans with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
A cold front came through last night, but that has cleared the area, and behind it, some gusty winds. Winds gusting to 25 miles an hour, bringing in some cooler air, so won't be quite the warm-up we had yesterday, but still bright sunshine through the day. 44 degrees at lunchtime, up to 47 for a high Thursday afternoon. Cold tonight, down to 30 degrees to start the day on Friday, but with sunshine, we're back into the upper 40s, 47 the high on Friday. Clouds building Friday night, rain due in, a chilly rain in the morning, but it warms to 56 degrees with the rain tapering off late Saturday afternoon and dry Saturday evening. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD and remind you that WURD Radio is a devoted team of hosts, producers, and staff doing everything we can to serve black people. As other media outlets grapple with trying to discover the needs of the black community, WURD puts those needs front and center, and we fight for them every day, all day. As we enter the final week of Black History Month, we know that our work is a part of history, a history of black voices that refuse to be silenced. We honor and call the names of those who've made black history: Mary McLeod Bethune, James Baldwin, Garrett Morgan, Elijah McCloy, Malcolm X, the list goes on and on. but how are you making Black history? This is one of the most challenging times in history, and we need you to stand with us. For $90 a year, you can become a member of WURD and let us know that what we do matters to you. Sign up today at wordradio.com/join now and type in the name of a person in Black history that you honor or the host that sent you, Solomon Jones, and let your voice be heard. Find more information at wordradio.com/join now. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are on these various things that we are talking about on this morning's show. So, of course, we're talking about our top 3 stories, which are story number 1, a 22-year-old West Philadelphia man expected to be charged Wednesday with raping a 55-year-old woman in the bathroom in the Center City Macy's after police said he waited in a stall for 20 minutes, jumped into the woman's stall when she walked in and attacked her, brandishing kitchen skewers and threatened to kill her. Good job on that arrest. Story number 2, a close ally of Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has shown that she was lying when she tried to blame Antifa and Black Lives Matter for invading the Capitol. No, it was Trump people. How do we know? Because Anthony Aguero, one of her close allies, said it was. He said, I was there. It wasn't Antifa. It wasn't Black Lives Matter. It was us. It was Trump supporters, and I don't want them taking my glory. So stop lying, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Please, you're costing people their lives, which brings me to story number 3. The Baton Rouge Police Department investigating an arrest captured on video Sunday that shows an officer wrapping his arm around the neck of a Black teenager, putting him in a chokehold, 13 years old. The video shared on Twitter on Sunday shows the officer pinning the 13-year-old to the ground with his arm around his neck as a crowd of onlookers urge him to get off the boy. Someone repeatedly yells, "You're choking him." The mayor and the police chief say that they're investigating and they're going to have a transparent review. And no, take him off the street now, right? And make preparations to fire him and maybe criminally charge him. Like, they do this stuff because they know that in the end they're going to get away with it. That cannot be the case. You cannot allow that to continue. Because, again, you're costing people their lives. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in. Abdul from West Philly is online, too. Go ahead, Abdul.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Because of all your top stories, it makes me wonder, like, what are we going to do, Because they say that the meaning of insanity, that keep doing the same thing over and over again. And so it makes me wonder, what are we going to do? Because you have the white supremacists, the people who stormed the Capitol. You listen to their talk, they want to try to have civil war again. You listen to some countries, not countries, but states like California at one time talking about seceding from the Union. You think about Texas, they want to be completely, basically independent from the United States. So it makes me wonder.
How's that working out for Texas right now?
Well, it's not too good, but it makes me wonder.
Yeah.
As far as our people is concerned, what was wrong with some of the proposals of Elijah Muhammad? Because what are we going to do? Do we have to get a petition or something to go around to come up with suggestions about what we're going to do? Because you just sort of wonder because the same thing keeps happening over and over and over again, and it's like the people say you get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I think that people. I think really, we need to work from the micro to the macro. So first, we need to take care of our families, right? Our homes, and then we need to take care of our block, and then we need to take care of our larger community. And then we need to take care of the rest of society. But I think first you have to start at the micro level, right? He who's faithful with little will be faithful with much. So first be faithful with your family, right? Take care of your children. Take care of your wife, right? And then take care of your block. You know, learn your neighbors' names, work with them, look out for them, right? And then you work with your city, you know, with your public officials who represent you. Make sure that they represent you, and if they don't, hold them accountable. And then you work with your larger society, people outside of your community who are willing to partner with you. I think that's how you fix it. I think you start from, you know, the thing that you have the most control over, which is your house. That's what I think.
Well, can I say that I agree with you under normal circumstances, but when you talk about our community, the African American community, if you want to start with like making building a stronger family unit, that means that you gotta have the economy support you, and we see that that's not happening. You know, even now they're even talking about automating all kinds of stuff more so. That means that they're even discussing paying people money to stay home so they don't have to work. That's not a successful plan. So, you know, so when they talk about, you know, doing for self, like you're talking about, so that's what Elijah Muhammad was proposing.
Yeah, I know. I know that's what Elijah Muhammad was proposing. I think some of the things that Elijah Muhammad said were right. You know, I don't agree with everything, but here's the thing. I think that, you know, the bottom line is that we do have to do for self. He's absolutely right. We have to take care of ourselves and our community first, and that begins with taking care of your family. That begins with men stepping up, right? Marrying these sisters, number one. Number two, actually having the capacity to take care of them when you do. That means, guess what? You got to go to work, man.
Well,
I was just trying to take care of my family, hustling drugs. Thank you, Abdul, for your call. I was just trying to take care of my family. How are you going to take care of your family from prison? Like, you know, just basic stuff. So I appreciate your call, and you know, but the whole woe is me, there's no hope stuff, I'm not there. You know, where I am is that, no, we have the capacity to be able to do this, right? We have brilliant people within our community who can create and have their own economies, their own product, right? And employ other black people. We have the capacity to do that. And so it's time to get moving. Io from South Philly is on line 3. Go ahead, Io.
Peace. Good morning, Solomon. Well, everything you just said needs to be put in a pamphlet and put in every black person's door in the city and other cities. That is just so awesome. But I was thinking about the young man that was being choked. Was the officer of color, or anyone know?
The officer was white.
Uh-huh.
The boy was black.
And so you see, so you see his motive was not to allow him to turn 21 or to turn 18 or to, you know, finish school or make a baby or have a good life. And that officer's example are the people that stormed that Capitol. So like you said, he feels justified. He feels like nobody can stop him. You know, and even if they do, a little smack on the wrist, go to another town, get another job, say his field, and bam, you know, he's a hero in his community, you know. So like you said, we got to protect our kids. And thank you for protecting yours.
Thank you.
And thank you for marrying their mother. And thank you for educating yourself, pulling yourself up by the bootstrap, you know what I mean, and sharing that there is hope. Because, you know, they ran in and out of houses centuries ago looking for the blue boys. But thank God he got up.
Amen.
Yeah. Okay, so there's hope.
Yeah, there is.
Thanks, baby, for listening to me.
There is. Thank you, Io. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. As always, let's go to Jacob from Olney on line 4. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, peace be unto you, Brother Solomon.
Same to you.
Yeah, I heard the brother, was talking about what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would say. Well, I'm one who followed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when he was living. I was William 87X headquarters here in Philadelphia. And he told us, he said, we got to be quick thinking, fast stepping, right down to the modern day and time. And that's what we have to be. We see what we're faced with today in our homes, in our neighborhoods, and on out, to the country.
Yes.
One thing we got to do, and we should be thankful for, that we see what it's about now. It's about white supremacy and the people that want to hold on to it. So that's one of our big fights. We can't keep sweeping it under the rug, right? And the good thing about that, it's become so transparent that we can see who's who. I can point to the senators in the Republican Party that hold up white supremacy, right?
That's right.
And go for it. Never before have we had this kind of vision that we can, if you got cancer, they got this new thing that pinpoints the cancer, right? The lasers or whatever the heck they call it. Well, we got that same type of thing. And what we got going for us today that we didn't have is the majority of Americans, it was proven, that's why Biden's the president, thank God, that we know what we have to do now, and we have to help our ignorant white supremacist brothers and sisters that it ain't going to happen no more. You can take that Confederate flag and put it in your museums, no problem with that. But this other stuff is going to stop and put laws. That's what we got to do. We got to make it unlawful. We got to put it on the books, as they say. But, and we ain't come this far to stop somebody else. What are we going to do? We going to keep fighting, right?
That's right.
So
that's right.
I don't know. That ain't real hard. And
that's right.
Like Fannie Lou Hamer and them, they didn't stop. Harriet Tubman, they didn't stop. What make us think we going to stop?
Man, there you go.
Ain't no stopping us now, right? Thank
no,
you.
Sir.
No,
sir. Brother Jacob, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you as always. Let's go to Andre from North Philly on line 1. Good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. I'm biracial, and I had a thought on 2 stories. The 22-year-old man that raped that 55-year-old woman in Macy's. Was she a black woman, or was she a white woman, or nobody?
I'm not sure.
I can't find. Okay. Yeah, that's a shame. My wife was raped by a black man, and she actually.
Your wife was raped by a black man? Okay. Thank you for your call this morning on WURD. My ancestors were raped by white men. You know what I'm saying? So, don't call here with that. 215-634-8065, and I haven't forgotten and won't. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are on these various things that we are talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065. They think I'm stupid, don't they, Kwesa? Is that what they think? Because that's sadly mistaken. You know
I
what
told
I'm
it
saying?
too. I was like, no.
Yeah. Come
no.
on, bruh.
No.
I'm not the sharpest pencil in the stack. I'm not, the smartest person in the room or any of that, but I'm by no stretch of the imagination am I stupid. Trust me on that. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And, of course, you can weigh in on Facebook at 4WURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. That's how you can get in. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Well, the kids are in bed. Time for a little grown-up quiet time.
What do you mean quiet time? It's your birthday. We're about to party.
Haha, funny. It's gonna have to be a you and me party this year. You know we can't have anybody over.
Well, your mom and dad are coming from Florida. Sis will be here from California. Oh, and a couple of old friends from just about everywhere will be showing up. They should all be here about now.
COVID-19 has changed the way we do things, for now. But social distancing doesn't mean you can't be social. COVID-19 doesn't have to keep us apart. Friends and family are finding new ways to be together, especially with how hard it's hitting the black community. Vaccines are here, but until enough of us are vaccinated, we still have to be down with slowing the spread. Keep a 6-foot distance, wear a mask, and avoid indoor social gatherings. Learn more about vaccines and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
WURD Radio celebrates Black History Month with Black Artist Story 365. Brought to you by AARP, Thomas Jefferson, and New Voices for Reproductive Justice.
Welcome to Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. Get into this episode where we explore the art and artistry of Trinidadian American, Tony Award-winning actor, voice actor, singer, dancer, composer, choreographer, costume designer, visual artist, and director, Jeffrey Holder. Part 1. King star Uncle Jeffrey was an August Leo, born Jeffrey Lamont Holder of Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, the youngest of 5 children of Louise de France and Arthur Holder, who had immigrated from Barbados. Bosco Holder taught Jeffrey painting and dancing and recruited him to join a small folkloric dance troupe he had formed, the Holder Dancing Company. Bosco was 16, listen, and Jeffrey was 7. Okay? When Bosco left for London, Jeffrey was left in charge of the dance company as its director and lead performer. Soon after arriving in Brooklyn, he joined the Catherine Dunham's dance school, where he taught folkloric forms for 2 years. From 1955 to 1956, he performed with the Metropolitan Opera Ballet as a principal dancer. He left the ballet to make his Broadway debut in the Harold Arlen and Truman Capote musical, House of Flowers. While working on House of Flowers, he met Alvin Ailey, with whom he later worked extensively, and his future wife and muse, Carmen de Lavallade. After the show closed, he starred in an all-black production of Waiting for Godot in 1957. As a choreographer, because you know he's got all them lists of things that he was masterful at, Holder created dance pieces for many companies, including Alvin Ailey, American Dance Theater, for which he provided choreography, music, and costumes for Prodigal Prince in 1967, and the Dance Theater of Harlem, for which he provided choreography, music, and costumes for Douglas in 1974. He was director, costume designer, and choreographer, as we mentioned, in The Wiz in 1974. And in 1978, he directed and choreographed the Broadway musical Timbuktu. So that's it for this episode of Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. To hear more, tune in to The Envy McKee Show, Friday nights, 7 to 10 p.m., right here on WURD.
Black Artist Story 365 was brought to you by AARP Pennsylvania, Thomas Jefferson, and New Voices for Reproductive Justice. WURD Radio is independent black media, and we're able to stay independent because of our 4WURD movement and members like you.
Treat yourself to the treat of buying a WURD membership. It's less than a quarter a day. That's less than a bag of chips. And we really, truly need to keep this platform going so that we can stay connected as we reimagine our community in 2021.
Start or renew your 4WURD membership today at wordradio.com/4WURD or call 215-425-7875. WURD Radio. Independent Black Media.
Tune in this Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. for the Islam Today show with a perspective on moral guidance and Islamic principles and values.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
A crash in Plymouth, Germantown Pike, and Hollowell Road, and there are delays. This report is sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $4. The Schuylkill eastbound barely moving City to Spring Garden Street, 202 to Gulf Mills, the Blue Route to the Conshohocken Curve, westbound the Boulevard to Belmont, 95 southbound delays right through the construction zone, Cottman Avenue to Bridge Street southbound, again delays the Betsy Ross Bridge to Girard, the Vine Expressway westbound slowing 8th Street to the Schuylkill, the Boulevard southbound delays Broad Street to Fox Street. Have you been wronged by bad breakfast? Get the breakfast you deserve with Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $4. Pick 2 fresh breakfast sandwiches for just $4, like their honey butter chicken biscuit, classic sausage, egg, and cheese, or classic bacon, egg, and cheese at participating Wendy's for a limited time. Single item at regular price. For more traffic information, go to SIGAlert.com. I'm Ann Evans with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Sunshine today and a gusty wind. That's going to keep temperatures a bit cooler than what we saw yesterday, but still a nice warm up to 47 degrees this afternoon, and the wind will die down later today. Cold tonight, a low of 30 Friday morning. Sunshine and 47 the high temperature. Dry through the day on Friday. But Friday night clouds are back and a rainy day Saturday with a high of 56. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
You're waking up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. And we are, of course, taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Story number one. A 22-year-old West Philadelphia man was expected to be charged Wednesday with raping a 55-year-old woman in the bathroom in the Center City Macy's. Thankfully, he was caught thanks to great police work by the Philadelphia Police Department, as well as a tip from someone who saw the videos that the police posted of this person traveling around the city. Story number two, a close ally of Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene took part in the January 6th mob at the Capitol and said he was among those who eventually made their way into the building. Why does it matter? Because Marjorie Taylor Greene was among those lying, claiming it was at Antifa and it was Black Lives Matter and it was everybody else and it was no. We were all there. That's what her ally said, Mr. Guerrero. And he said, look, it was not Antifa and it was not Black Lives Matter. It was Trump supporters that did that yesterday. I'm the first one to admit it. Being one myself, I walked amongst those people. And so please, Marjorie Taylor Greene, stop lying. You've cost enough people their lives with your lies. And story number three, the Baton Rouge Police Department investigating an arrest captured on video Sunday that appears to show an officer wrapping his arm around the neck of a black teenager, putting him in a chokehold as people say, you're choking him, please get up. And so I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about. Shaquille from the Northeast is on line one. Go ahead, Shaquille.
Good morning, Solomon. How are you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I am good. I woke up this morning. That's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a comment on this cop that in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Why would you put your hands around a 13-year-old's neck anyway?
Yeah.
What would possess you to do that? You cops going, oh, I fear for my life. I fear for my life. But do you know how many of y'all that incite trouble, that y'all start stuff with people? And the only way the people are going to do is react to what you start, what you give is what you get. When you bring drama to somebody's community, that's what you're going to get in return. Do y'all, just because y'all wear a blue uniform, got a badge on, y'all can do whatever y'all want to people? It can't go like that. That's why we are retaliating the way we are.
Yeah.
You think we don't, y'all think we don't like y'all. It's not that we don't like y'all. Look at what y'all doing to us.
Yeah,
you treat people the way you want to be treated. You want to start trouble, you're going to get it. And I don't think that 13-year-old boy was doing anything that warrants that cop to put his hands around his neck. And when people told him that you're choking him, get up, and you still want to sit there and put your arms around his neck, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. I hear you, man. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD. Pastor Alan Waller, good morning.
Good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I am great. I'm great. We hadn't hollered in a while. And I said, let me
Yeah, it's good to hear from you, man. I got to call you.
Yeah. Yeah, and just, man, I'm listening to your show and appreciate how you're continuing to keep us on focus. I think what's very important in this season is that we don't let the movement die down because of lack of any new issue. You know, all the issues are on the table. We know what they are, and we have to stay vigilant and stay focused on this because this is a chess match and not checkers.
That's right.
And we're going to. This is if you study history and see the period of Reconstruction, we're talking about years, not months and not days, to get this fight right. And so we're talking about a generational struggle. And I appreciate your voice and just want to remind people this is not going to be done overnight.
Yeah.
This is our 60s, if you will. This is a moment that new leadership and new voices and new struggles connected to the beginning are raising up. And you are part of that, and you are one of those voices. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. I appreciate you, too. Man, this is, you know, we are at a point where other folks are kind of marshaling their resources.
Yep.
You know, and getting ready for their next wave. And we have to understand that. We have to understand that and just know that we have to be doing what we have to do first within our community, and then partnering with other people as well, you know, who want justice.
That's right. And we cannot be ashamed to address Black issues.
That's right.
You know, I'm all for diversity. I'm all for inclusion. But those are buzzwords that if we're not careful, someone can answer the call of those words and leave us out of it. And so we who are Black cannot be afraid to say, how does this impact Black people? Not just how is this diverse, not just how is this inclusive, but how does this impact Black people? Because there is a movement that can address all of those things and still not deal with the unique role that Black people and unique position of Black people in this country because of 1619 and because of the specific policies that sought to keep us in that. And the greatest threat to a caste system is those on the bottom rising up.
And that's what we have to do. We have to rise up. And I think in many ways we're doing that. I'm so proud of the work. And I know, you know, I'm just watching Ayla, and I'm in awe because she is doing her thing. She vaccinated more people in a day than the whole city does on average in a day, you know, just by you know, having that track record, having that trust, and just using it to get people down there and get vaccinated.
That's right, and we have to call on the city to make sure that they wrap the right resources around her to do it, because we don't want her good to be evil spoken of because of lack of resource and support.
Yeah. So, Pastor Wallace, always good hearing from you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. All right.
All right. Appreciate you, too. Let's talk to Malik from Mount Airy on line 2. Go ahead, Malik.
Good morning, Brother Solomon. Thank you for clearing that foolishness off our line.
Yeah,
and,
you're welcome.
And thank you, Queen Cohesive, as always, for doing the magic behind the scenes. That young brother getting choked by that police officer, that's trained behavior. At this point, you can't keep saying, oh, he feared for his life, oh, he was nervous, oh, it was a split-second decision, because after, like you said, after January 6th, I don't want to hear that crap no more. Because you had a moment of pause with white people, but you don't even have a moment of pause. This is a 13-year-old child. I could kill him because I'm a grown man in a matter of seconds. No, I don't even think about that. I'm gonna just choke him out. Are you serious? This is George Floyd. Are you serious? You still pretty much sat on that man's back for 9 minutes. And you can clearly see he didn't care. You can clearly see he looked at the screen like, what? That's trained behavior. That's conditioning. That's mentally saying you don't matter to me. And if that's how you feel, Listen, we shall overcome is not working no more. And I'm not saying go, taking up guns, but after a while, praying hasn't worked, protesting hasn't worked, and I'm not saying that those things aren't necessary. But after a while, you got to do what the Black Panther Party said. Listen, I'm only here so you do your job the right way. That's it. And I'm not saying go get in no gun battles. But after a while, police violence slowed down when the Black Panther Party was walking around Los Angeles. That's the truth and the whole truth. So after a while, we just got to defend our own like they defend their own. That's my piece. I thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah, well, before you get off the line, I do want to push back a little bit, because I think that everything that Black folks have achieved has been undergirded by the power of prayer. Right now, faith without works is dead. It's one of my favorite verses in the Bible. But the power of prayer is a power that is real, and that is tangible, and that I have seen in my own life, right, in my own turnaround. And so I never discount it. I think that everything that we do has to be undergirded by that. Now, we take some of the strategies that we used before, and I think we incorporate them with what we do now. I think that we learn from our young people, that we have them at the table, and that we work together, man, to do everything we can to push forward. So I need the prayer warriors. I need them in there.
And I'm not saying we don't need prayer. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is prayer, like you said, prayer.
You said prayer hasn't worked.
What I mean is,
that's what you said. So I'm just pushing back on that because I have to, right? But I think that prayer has undergirded everything that has worked for us. That's what I think.
And I hear what you're saying. When I say it's not working, as in it's not working solely, it has to be backed up by something else, because
there always has to be action.
Martin Luther King prayed, and Jesse Jackson prayed, and when he went down to the roundhouse, they prayed. And I'm not saying prayer don't work. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, when I say it doesn't work without some follow up of literally you need some type of force. And I'm not saying go, like I said, it's just the Black Panther Party stood there and said, do your job. That's all I'm asking you for. Just do your job under the laws as they're written. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying prayer didn't work, because people pray for the Black Panther Party too. So when I say it's not working, I'm saying in the sense of we need more. That's all I'm saying. I refuse to say prayer don't work, because listen, there's a lot of people that's praying for me to wake up every single morning. So it's
that's
working.
What I'm talking about. Come on, man.
Yeah. But now, hold on.
All right. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Lynn from Darby on line 3. Go ahead, Lynn.
Good morning, Word family, and Solomon Kawesa. You're right, Solomon, because I'm praying. If I'm in a crowd like that and they're choking somebody, I'm praying for them cops that the crowd don't bum rush them, and it'll be a different turnout. But anyway, Solomon, I want to send my condolences for Tony Brown. Gotcha. And I also want to, that was his theme song, if you didn't remember, to the Quiet Storm. But anyway, and a happy heavenly birthday to Cody Anderson. And it's my birthday too.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. And Solomon, tell my boyfriend in my head, Jay, to wish me a happy birthday.
Okay.
And for my birthday, I want everybody to stay woke, get involved, and because it's in memory of Cody Anderson, do something kind for somebody. And in memory of Tony Brown, play a Quiet Storm jam all day today. Y'all take care.
All right. All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning. And happy birthday. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show with Kristen Graham, talking about what's happening with the schools and getting back into the schools. What's the plan? We're going to talk about it on the other side. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Olaniyan Adefume, author of the Book of Questions, needs your help. He is seeking out responses for an updated version of the Book of Questions Series 2. The topics of the book cover issues of religion, race, sex, economics, politics, and health. One example would be, what do you think of the Capitol riot of January 6, 2021? For more information, reach out to him directly at 215-678-3830 or email him at oadefumi@yahoo.com.
Okay, hers new fire potato chips and cheese curls. They are spicy. Whew, they're hottest snacks yet. Hold on. Whew. But you know, it's not just heat. There's some nice sweet and savory stuff going on too. Ooh, there's that heat again. It burns, but it burns so tasty. Ooh, that's hot. Find Hers Fire Snacks at your store today. Whew. Taste the flavor, feel the heat, break out the Hers.
James Schuler Memorial Boxing Gym presents Around the Way Rumbling, an amateur boxing event Saturday, March 6th. The first bout is at 2 p.m. at James Schuler Memorial Gym, located at 750 North Brooklyn Street, off of 42nd and Lancaster Avenue. Boxing saves lives, and this is the perfect time to join the gym. Monthly memberships and boxing lessons are available for ages 7 through 70. For sponsorship information, call Crystal at 717-421-0512.
Tune in Saturdays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. to hear Empire Capital and Consulting founder Mark Palmer's show titled Black Money, Black Power. This show centers around black money and how black power is derived from money. Tune in every Saturday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Black Money, Black Power, hosted by Mark Palmer.
Words from our past. WURD Radio celebrates the powerful voices of Black history. Malcolm X.
We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough. And it is because of our effort toward getting straight to the root that people oftentimes think we're dealing in hate. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us is come together against the common enemy.
Words from our past, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Celebrating Black history all day, every day. Medgar Evers.
All we want you to do is keep going with this fight for freedom. When we get this unity, ladies and gentlemen, nothing can stop us.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Philadelphia, independent Black media.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. Joining us now is Kristen Graham, an award-winning education reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Kristen, good morning.
Hey, Solomon. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm going to make this quick because I know, you know what I mean. This is that around that time, and you know having kids and all of that.
My second grader and my preschooler in the back yelling about lunch or something.
That's what they do.
Yep.
So there was a meeting to discuss school reopening this week. What happened?
So basically, you know, what we're still doing is waiting for the mediator. Obviously, Dr. Haidt had wanted pre-kindergarten through second graders to go back on February 22nd. PFT said no, teachers don't feel safe. Some buildings have like no mechanical ventilation at all, and they wanted to use window stands, you know, as a means to ventilate classrooms. And so that's been pushed back now to March 1st. So conceivably, some kids are going to go back on Monday. However, the mediator, you know, has not ruled yet. And we know that the PFT and district are in negotiations with kind of the city helping out. So basically, we don't know what's going to happen on Monday. You know, there are lots of parents who feel like, you know, schools aren't safe. There are some parents who feel like they really want their kids back. You that their kids have struggled with remote learning, and people on the other side who say just as vehemently, we don't feel like these buildings are safe. They weren't, clean and safe before the pandemic, and they're not safe now. So lots at stake.
Yeah, and the buildings are old, and that's what I'm wondering about in terms of how you ventilate these buildings that just aren't physically built to be ventilated, right?
Sure. I mean,
how do you do it?
I'm thinking of the Francis Scott Key School in South Philly, which was, built in, I believe, the 1870s or 1880s. I mean, this is a very, we have a lot of old buildings, and there are some schools that, have ventilation that's fine. There's some schools that have, like, ventilation systems that haven't worked for 10 years.
Yeah.
And in a lot of those cases, it's because, there may be asbestos in the lining, or, the system just doesn't work. And the district has worked to, fix some of those schools. Obviously, schools have been closed for almost a year now, and some buildings have been worked on since the pandemic began. But it's a mixed bag, and it's certainly not with any. There's like 300 buildings in the district, about 220 schools, and in a district of this size, you're definitely going to get a mixed bag. And what we've heard recently from Dr. Haidt is that it seems likely that some schools will open and some schools will stay closed until adequate, the PFT and the district can come to agreement on, how to fix them or how to make them, bring them up to people's comfort level for safety. Now, Dr. Haidt has also said he absolutely believes kids could go back to school, that these buildings are safe, if you do masking and hand washing and like open windows in cases. And there are some buildings that are just not going to be safe. And, they've been rated. I've been inside a couple of schools, and, you see there's a sign on every room that says, how many people can safely occupy a room. And some rooms are 0. Some rooms are, don't go in here. And the district has said, look, we're not going to use those. But because, it's a small group of kids going back pre-kindergarten through 2nd grade, and also only a third of kids who are eligible to go back, their family said, yeah, we want them to go back. In a lot of cases, parents said, I don't feel like it's safe, or in some cases, the child care is saying, the kids are only going to be going back 2 days a week, and that doesn't really help me as a working parent. I need them to be in the same place every day. So it's definitely, there's a lot at play, and we still don't know what's going to happen on Monday.
We're talking with Kristen Graham from the Philadelphia Inquirer. She covers education there. So last time the teachers were like, look, we're not coming back. And teachers, taught outside the schools to make that larger point. Some of them still, taught from home or whatever. Have they given any indication as to whether they will go back this time?
No. So, I mean, Jerry Jordan has said, I'm not going to go back until I have assurances that schools are safe. Now, that's, a pretty blanket statement, right? And we don't know what the nuances of that means. And obviously they're in negotiations right now to figure out what, safe is and what the PFT can live with. There has been some pushback. Jerry hasn't talked about this publicly, but there's been some pushback from people, as Dr. Haidt says, well, maybe some kids will go back in some schools and, others will remain fully virtual. And, you've heard some teachers, individual teachers say, I'm not going back. Like, we're not going to divide and conquer. You can't do that. If all teachers don't go back, then, if all schools don't go back, then no school should go back. But that's not something that Jerry has commented on. I mean, he's always, pretty circumspect and says he doesn't want to deal in, hypotheticals, but we'll see, if push comes to shove and some schools open on Monday and he directs members in those schools to go back, will there be some teachers who don't go back? Yeah, I think it's possible. And then you get down the road of will there be sanctions for those teachers? Certainly when February 22nd was the date and teachers were supposed to be back on February 8th and Jerry directed his members not to go, initially Dr. Haidt had said people who don't show up for work will be disciplined. And then at the 11th hour, the mayor stepped in and said, no, you don't have to show up for work while we're waiting for the mediator. I think it would be a different situation if Jerry, the district, and the city all said, okay, we all agree that people in this limited number of schools are going to go back. But, it's all hypothetical at this point, so lots remains up in the air.
Okay, so we've got a couple of new school board members as well. Have any of them indicated where they are on this question of reopening?
I mean, I think they have said kids need to be back when it's safe, and that kind of gives you cover, right? Because what's safe means different things to different people. Right. Two of the board members, Cecilia Thompson and Reginald Streeter, either were recently parents of school district students. Cecilia Thompson's son just graduated. Reginald Streeter's children are currently in a district school. So, they certainly have that parent perspective. Lisa Sally does have, I believe, a niece in the district. But, it's not something they said, like, definitively, we think kids should go back on March 1st or, no way, not until all schools are safe should anyone go back. So, they have not made a public stand beyond kids should go back when it's safe.
All right. All right. Well, that is Kristen Graham. She's an award-winning education reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
My pleasure. Take care, Solomon.
All right. You too. And you can check out Kristen's work on Philly.com. And I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Let's go to Gloria from Sharon Hill on line 1. Go ahead, Gloria.
Good morning, Solomon Word family of Kuwait. How are you, Solomon?
Good, and you?
I'm okay. I'm up now. When I heard about the 13-year-old boy being choked down at Baton Rouge, I was up. I said, "Oh no, not again." Oh, Solomon, what are you going to do? Oh my gosh!
Keep fighting.
Oh, Solomon, what is wrong with these people? Are they upset? Are they that upset about the election? That's what it is.
Yeah, he was doing it before the election. See, here's what I think. I think that there have to be consequences. And in order for there to be consequences, I think there has to be strategy. I think that power concedes nothing without a demand. Yeah. And so there have to be specific demands. And I think that there have to be various strategies that have to work together. I think there has to be legislation.
This has got to stop.
I think there has to be change in how these punishments are implemented, and I think there have to be changes within these systems. So, yeah. I just think it's a lot. I think it's a lot, but you do it one step at a time.
Mm-hmm. This is crazy. Mm-hmm. He's 13 years old. What harm can he do to a grown man?
Yeah.
That is insane. And people tell him to stop. You're choking him. Thank God that people. Oh my God! I saw him. It's got to stop. Oh Lord Jesus. Yeah. I tell you. All right, just have a good day, okay?
All right, thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. And if you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in. You can, of course, also weigh in on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. Kuwait, so what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So we do have quite a few comments here. We have Kuz Ms. Allen saying, where are the schools that are approved by the right city inspection to open? And that's the number one question. I don't trust any of them. So that's one comment we have. And she's also saying good morning. And then also Chris Potter, good morning to you. As well. Chris is saying, thank you, Dr. Waller. It can't always be black and brown. Sometimes it's got to be just about black issues. And so that's another comment we have. Viola Richburg Gray, thank you so much for checking us out. She's saying good morning as well. And then also Kathleen West, thank you for checking us out. Ayatunde Garrett, thanks for for checking us out. Also, Walter Davis, through our history, as there's no mystery, we thrived on care and prayer, that is still getting us there. Families, stay revived and keep hope alive. So that's another comment that we have here. Good morning to Cheryl Brown as well. Thanks so much for checking us out and weighing in here, and always just saying good morning to everyone who's coming in here on the live feed. So, yep, those are a couple of comments. Those are a few people checking us out, but just keep them coming.
All right. 215-634-8065, of course, is the number you can call to get in. And today is a special day. Today is Cody Anderson's birthday. Of course, he just passed just a few days ago. And you remember something about his birthday, Kawesa?
Well, he didn't really like to celebrate it too much. He was always very quiet about it. He wouldn't want us, going in there and making a big deal, about his birthday. But, that's also just kind of, how Cody was. Like, he didn't really like all that, us, being so extra and, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that was, something about Cody. I know one year, I think Sandra Ali had gotten cupcakes, or somebody had gotten cupcakes, and we went into his office and we were singing and carrying on. And, and it was funny. Like, I know that he appreciated it, but at the same time, he was like, why do you guys keep doing that? So, I mean, but yes, happy heavenly birthday to Cody. I know that you probably like, don't do that. So, but no, we want to just, acknowledge that. But yeah, he would not want us, out here just being extra on his birthday. This just wasn't the kind of guy he was. So, but yep, still missed, but we're happy for the good memories that we still have of him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we do miss Cody. We absolutely do. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go to Sister Murray from University City on line 2. Good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. How are you and the WURD family?
Good, and you?
I am blessed. I want to share a little something with you. I met a woman outside of Mall Christ. She had lost $200. So I gave her $40 from the $200 I found. When God bless you, you must bless others.
Well, did you find her $200?
It's a fruitful thought, Solomon. But Solomon, I am so glad that God answers all our prayers. I'm so glad they caught this 22-year-old young man. Solomon, 22, what went wrong in his life? What made him do what he did? I pray for them. I pray for the family. I pray for her husband, who was right there and couldn't help his wife. I pray, Solomon, that you continuously keep this Man Up program, because this is why your program is so important to help our young black men, that they can change. They can. And we must help them, Solomon. Keep up the program. And everybody that's listening around the entire world, please send money into this WRD. Help Solomon keep this program going.
Thank you, Sister Murray. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. We are going to go to break, and on the other side of this break, we're going to talk politics with Jay McCalla. We got a whole lot going on politically in Capitol Hill and beyond, so we're going to talk with him on the other side of this break. I am Solomon Jones. This is WURD Radio. We'll be right back.
What would you call a joy that is as solemn as it is sweet and knows no bounds? A joy that's beautifully rooted in soul and resilience. This is Black Joy, a joy that reflects pride and honor despite every challenge. AARP believes the power of Black joy is limitless, and through Black History Month and beyond, we celebrate this joy supreme. Join us in celebrating Black History Month at aarp.org/blackcommunity.
Your child deserves to be educated in a safe and supportive learning environment. Southwest Leadership Academy Charter School, a tuition-free public school, is accepting applications for the 2021-2022 school year. SLAC's 2 locations offer single-gender classrooms in a dual-gender environment. Kindergarten and first-grade classrooms have a 15-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Students learn music, art, and fitness. Southwest Leadership educates the whole child, preparing students to become leaders. slacks-phila.org, Instagram at Southwest Leadership Academy, or email info@slacks-phila.org.
Clark Roofing salutes Black History Month with over 30 years of quality roofing experience, providing exceptional customer service, honesty, and professionalism. For service, call 215-365-ROOF. That's 215-365-7663.
Words from our past. Word Radio celebrates the powerful voices of Black history. Reverend Dr. Leon H. Sullivan.
If there is anything in earth that makes man akin to God, it is his power to believe. For things are to us what they are on the basis of what we believe them to be, whether they be true or whether they be false. If, for example, you believe that a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points, then for you this is true in spite of the fact that there is no such thing as a straight line in a crooked world.
Words from our past, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. This episode brought to you by Comcast.
Tune in this Saturday at 3 p.m. for the Friends of Farrakhan show, understanding the ultimate truth of the knowledge of self and the knowledge of God.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
We're jammed on the Schuylkill eastbound, and this report is sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $4. The Schuylkill eastbound barely moving City to Spring Garden Street. 95 southbound delays Cottman to Girard. The Boulevard southbound barely moving Broad Street to Fox Street, right through that roadwork zone. The Ben Franklin Bridge westbound, that's slowing. Heading into Philadelphia, the right lane is closed due to roadwork. 55 northbound barely moving north of Deptford to 42. An accident in Plymouth, Germantown Pike at Hollowell Road. An accident in Brookhaven Borough, 352 at Brookhaven Road. And a crash in Milford on 663 on the ramp to the PA Turnpike Northeast Extension. Have you been wronged by bad breakfast? Get the breakfast you deserve with Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $4. Pick 2 fresh breakfast sandwiches for just $4, like their honey butter chicken biscuit, classic sausage, egg, and cheese, or classic bacon, egg, and cheese at participating Wendy's for a limited time. Single item at regular price. For more traffic information, go to SigAlert.com. I'm Ann Evans with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
A cold front came through last night, but that has cleared the area, and behind it, some gusty winds. Winds gusting to 25 miles an hour, bringing in some cooler air, so it won't be quite the warm-up we had yesterday, but still bright sunshine through the day. 44 degrees at lunchtime, up to 47 for a high Thursday afternoon. Cold tonight, down to 30 degrees to start the day on Friday, but with sunshine, we're back into the upper 40s, 47 the high on Friday. Clouds building Friday night, rain due in, a chilly rain in the morning, but it warms to 56 degrees with the rain tapering off late Saturday afternoon and dry Saturday evening. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
He cried, his voice quivered. Nobody repents better than a politician who's been caught. I think basically they're just annoyed that they didn't say it first. I sat down on the train. Next thing I know, I'm standing here in the lobby of the Trump Plaza.
How did I get here?
I don't know. Clearly there was an endorsement that was going to happen that day.
And now, Jay McCallum, only on Wake Up with Word.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now is Jay McCallum. He held senior positions in both the Rendell and Street administrations, a veteran political consultant. McCallum's work has been published in the Philadelphia Inquirer, Philadelphia Magazine, and the Chestnut Hill Local. He brings deep knowledge to politics and does so from an African-American perspective. Jay, good morning.
Morning to you, Solomon. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great. Yesterday was, 52 degrees. I had lunch with a friend outside. That'll hold me over till Saturday when it's in the high 50s again, and I can go out again. I'm liking this.
Yeah, me too. I actually, now I'm working, right? So I'm finishing edits on a book. So I've been like sitting in the same spot for hours every day, like all day, every day, finishing this book that normally I would have written in a year, but we had to rush it, so we only did it in a couple of months. So it's a lot, right? But I went to the door, and I got some air, and I just breathed in the air like, man, this is what it's like to be outside. Like it's.
Oh man, you should have walked to the curb at least. You know, go out, put your hands on your hips, and look up and down the street for a minute. That's what you should have done.
That's what I should have done. So I'm gonna do that today. After I get off the air today, I'm gonna do that before I go to my spot and start again. But it has been like round the clock, Jay.
Yeah, I'm glad. Because you're a good writer. And I know this is a whole different pace for you, doing it so fast. But it'll be interesting to see it when it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about some of this mess that's going on, especially in Washington, D.C. So Mitt Romney, right, said this week that if Trump were to run for the Republican presidential nomination in 2024, he would become the Republican nominee. What does that mean for the larger political landscape? And should he run? Could Trump win at all? What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, I agree with Mitt Romney. I don't think I've ever said that before in my life. You know, this is a guy who believes that corporations are people. But I think he's right in this case. Trump has got 56% support within the Republican Party for another term. And the next guy in line in the survey is Mike Pence, who's got about 12%. So Trump is crushing it, really, within the Republican Party still. And Republicans don't care that he's been impeached twice or that he caused the death of 500,000 Americans from COVID. Yeah, they wouldn't care if he had fleas. They love Trump because he pulled racism out of the gutter and gave it a big wet kiss. You know, the only way Trump doesn't win the nomination is if somebody else pops up and is even more racist than he is. And that's actually possible. There's no limit to racism or anger. A candidate who calls for the deportation of all black folks and the confiscation of our property may well have a political future. Remember, even Abe Lincoln, a Republican, wanted to ship us all back to Liberia. Maybe not back to Liberia because many of us hadn't been there. But with Trump out of the daily spotlight, not tweeting, not ranting, not foaming from the mouth, not storming into the press room at the White House, he's kind of out of sight. So there's a chance that some other racist alley cat may come and fill the void. Now, Trump can get the nomination, but I doubt he will ever win another general election. Most Americans blame him for the coup attempt and for sitting on his flabby Bahootney while COVID deaths soared through the roof. And let's all be mindful that in 2024, if the next chance Trump's got a shot at running, Kamala Harris is likely to be the Democratic nominee. And that means that black folks will come out like Hurricane Maria to vote for her. As we did it last time, we put Biden in the White House, and we'll do more so for Kamala Harris. We crushed Trump last November, and by God's grace, Solomon, we're going to do it again.
You know what? That's so much goes through my mind when I think about the numbers, when I think about the election dynamics, when I think about all of those things. The first thing that comes through my mind is that most Americans are not Republicans. So even if Donald Trump wins, the Republican nomination, I mean, by no stretch of the imagination does that mean that he wins the presidency. He would have to take, all of the independents in order for him to win, Jay. I mean, what are you thinking when you look at the numbers?
Well, the way the media presents it, half the country is Republican and half the country is Democratic, and it's head-to-head, and it just ain't. 27 or 28% of all registered voters are Republican. That makes them a minority party. Sadly, Democrats aren't doing much better. We're like 31 or 32%. But you're right. The big middle ground is independent voters.
Yeah.
And I think Trump has shot himself in the foot with his mouth, if you can do that. And so the only thing he's got is that 56% of the Republican Party that wants to see him in a second term, and even apart from a second term, he's got 82% generally within the party. They still like him. And so it's just he can only polarize because he's fed that same crew, red meat and lies, red meat and lies. That's what he's fed them for the last 4 or 5 years. And so that's all the folks who listen to him. He hasn't brought in teachers. He hasn't brought in parents. He hasn't brought in health advocates. He hasn't widened his tent one bit. He's got that still strain of those horrible, horrible people. And so it's them against the rest of the country. And so I don't see him winning, not with QAnon parading next side by his side, not with the KKK campaigning by his side and Fox News. I think in terms of that, they've shot their shot. They've worn out their welcome with the rest of the country. But that doesn't mean that like everybody who goes to a church knows that a small number of folks, who are key in their positions can really run that church.
Yeah.
So you don't really need a big majority to tear up the place and to tear a house down. And so I think if he runs, that'll be his objective, to turn out the sleaze and the garbage and have them come down to the polls with their shotguns and overalls and vote for him. But it's not going to be enough. He'll have his crowd, but he'll never get a majority of Americans. And, well, he never got one. Even when he ran against Hillary, he lost by 3 million.
Yeah.
So I don't see him doing this again. I don't see him doing it at all again.
Well, that's the thing about stirring up trouble, right? I don't even know if it's his goal. I don't think it was his goal to win the first time. I think he was shocked that he won. And the only reason he won is because we have this electoral college system that, allows, the electoral college votes to decide it based on, the popular votes in specific states. So, I mean, that's the only reason he won. So he wins. I don't think he really knew that he was going to win or even thought that he was going to win. I think he was trying to, promote his brand, figure out how to make some more money. And when he won, it was like, oh, okay, well, I'm in here. Okay, now what do I do? And I think that showed throughout the 4 years of his presidency. He had no idea what to do other than tweet and hold rallies and lie. That's what he did every day. And so him running again, Jay, I wonder if it's like another marketing ploy.
It would probably have to be. But I think he shot himself in the foot. His big famous Washington hotel is doing poorly. And from what I gather from reading, a lot of his other business properties with the name Trump on it, they're not doing so well because nobody wants to live in a building named after him. Nobody wants to rent a hotel room in a hotel named for him. So his branding has been, his efforts to brand his name and make it a worldwide name associated with quality has been really undercut by the fact that he is probably the most prominent racist to ever occupy the White House. Yeah. And so people associate now him with the racism and the division and the hate and not, look at this great luxury brand. I make the best hotels. That was so 5, 6, 7 years ago. What they remember him now is for his racism. And that he'd have to change in order to improve his brand. But he's such a racist, he'd rather be racist than make money. That's a hard choice for a guy like that, a guy who loves racism and loves money. But one precludes the other in his new world circumstance. I don't give a nickel for any direction he goes. He'll go back to the nomination maybe just as you say, to spruce up his brain and get some excitement out there. But his followers don't rent hotel rooms. His followers don't buy fancy condos. So there's a limit to what he's going to get out of another run.
Agreed. So I want to talk about the hearings that took place this week on Capitol Hill. So during those hearings, you know, it really became obvious. Republicans keep telling us we didn't see a Trump mob storm the Capitol. Senator Ron Johnson told us the crowd was filled with kids and smiling seniors, and the guys who stormed the Capitol weren't real Trumpsters. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's a congresswoman from Georgia, claims it was Antifa, but one of her close allies was there, and he doesn't want Antifa taking the credit. He says, no, it was us, Trump supporters. So here's my question, Jay. Why do these people keep lying?
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, they just do it and do it and do it. The kind of thing you'd slap your child on the back of their hand for, they stand up on a podium making tons of money shouting out these things. You know, I think they keep lying because they know what happened at the Capitol was despicable, that it was un-American. And they know how most of the country sees it that way. They always lie. They lie about their opponents. Remember, Mexicans are drug dealers and rapists, and Democrats believe in open borders, and Joe Biden is owned by China. So they just love to lie. And after years of Fox News, the Republican base wouldn't know the truth if it fit them in their racist behinds. They become a brainwashed cult that literally believes Democrats eat babies. Democrats eating babies is a core belief of QAnon. And no prominent Republican has ever challenged it and said, you know, that's crazy. So that nonsense just goes out there, and it gins up their base. Republicans attacked Antifa because it's a group almost nobody has ever heard of before they brought it up, and it's got a funny name. Antifa, by the way, has its roots in World War II, and it's anti, and fa is for fascist. They were anti-Adolf Hitler. They were anti-Benito Mussolini. They've become something different today, but that's where QAnon has its roots. They needed the boogeyman, and with Antifa, they created one. Trump once declared that he loves the poorly educated, and the Republican base is poorly educated. They don't know fact from fiction. You know, you see them on Facebook. Here's what I think. Well, who cares what you think? Tell me what you know. And so Trump has stoked outrage against African Americans, against Muslims, and all fine people. And the only way to make that outrage stick is if you lie about them. Again, they're drug dealers, they're murderers, they're rapists. You tell these lies. Black folks are lazy. They want to stay on welfare all day. You tell these lies, and you get fed enough lies that your system is poisoned. But they still draw the crowds. Trump always drew big rallies. And I guess if he has another rally, he'll draw big crowds. And it's all based on lies. I've seen interviews with people who go to the Trump rallies, and they are some of the most flagrantly misinformed folks in our country. And so the lies don't sway the majority of this country. But all they want is a strong turnout, and they're figuring that they'll steal the rest of the votes they need. You know, they'll keep us from going to the polls. They'll stop mail-in voting and all that kind of thing. So all they want is a strong core of crazy folks to come out, and they'll do the rest with their backroom theft.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Jay. And you know, I watched, of course, another hearing that took place on Capitol Hill this week. They brought in the Postmaster General to talk about, you know, the changes that he's made. Now, Joe Biden slowly changing the composition of that board that governs the post office, and they'll probably get him out. But, man, this dude has done so much damage. Now, it didn't work the first time around. But I wonder, like, how do they fix the postal system, you know, after he's done all of this mess trying to sabotage the vote? Again, it didn't work, but it sabotaged everything else with the postal system. What do you think?
Well, yeah, you're right. You know, I was waiting for a letter from my doctor, you know, setting up an appointment and all this elaborate stuff. And he said, we're going to send it out today. 7 days later, I get it. And that's just coming from Montgomery County.
Right.
So he did like almost permanent damage to the post office. We need somebody to come in there who knows about organization, maybe somebody who used to run FedEx, and bring them in to fix the system. And historically, the person who runs the post office has been a political hack. John Kennedy appointed his campaign manager, a fellow named Lawrence O'Brien. to be Postmaster General. And so the job has always been easy, and so you could appoint almost anybody to it because the post office ran so well. It ran like a clock all on its own motion. But this screw-up where we're not getting our mail, that started with Trump and Louis DeJoy. And I read the other day that he was asked at the hearing that when are you leaving? And he says, no time soon, get used to me. Now, that's arrogance times 3.
It really is, but you can do that when you got money and it doesn't matter whether they get rid of you or not. So
how about that? He's as rich as can be.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So we're going to talk about a little bit more on the other side of this break. I am Solomon Jones. He's Jay McCall. It's Blackball Politics right here on WURD. We'll be right back.
I went to check on Pop today. We put our hands up to the glass as if we were touching. But really, the only touching part was that we both tried to smile.
That's no way to say hello or goodbye. COVID-19 vaccines are here, but until enough of us are vaccinated, we'll all still need to help slow the spread. Keep a 6-foot distance, wear a mask, and avoid indoor social gatherings. Learn more about vaccines and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
I'm Anthony McLaughlin. Been denied insurance? Call 215-782-8574. Life insurance, age 0 to 85, no examination needed. Homeowners insurance, any home, any condition, same-day coverage. 215-782-8574. Auto insurance, we can have you covered in 15 minutes. Business insurance, call 24 hours a day, 215-782-8574. I'm Anthony McLaughlin. When you need insurance, I can help.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
February 25th at 7 p.m., New Voices for Reproductive Justice in partnership with WURD hosts Black Women Green Future, Environmental Justice and the New Political Landscape. The first event of Women of Color History Month is a national conversation with Jackie Patterson of the NAACP, PA State Rep Summer Lee, Norbise Flint of Black Women for Wellness, and Corrine Taylor of We Act for Environmental Justice. Register online at newvoicesrj.org. That's newvoicesrj.org.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now, of course, is Jay McCall. And we are talking a little politics this morning. A whole lot going on, including the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court decided a couple of cases this week. One of them was about Trump's tax returns. They said that they won't halt the turnover of Trump's tax records to Manhattan DA Cyrus Vance. Do you think they find anything that sticks, Jay?
Man, oh man, can you imagine how surprised Trump must have been that his own Supreme Court turned against him? I mean, that had to be a moment. But when I heard Trump had to turn over his tax returns, I was as happy as if somebody had sent me a plate of mac and cheese. You know, brother, I was dancing like a chicken on a hot plate. It was a glorious moment, moment. Trump would rather attend a Black Lives Matter rally butt naked than turn over his tax returns. But we've got him. We've got his pudgy hiney right where we want it.
black folks have always known Trump was a lying, cheating sack of mendacity, and soon the whole world's going to know it in exquisite detail.
Yep.
According to his sad sack lawyer, Michael Cohen, Trump has been defrauding banks, insurance companies, and the government for decades. Trump's asperdasper, Solomon, is about to be ground up like a cheap cut of beef at the Italian market. And it's going to be fantastic. We're going to hear him howl and just howl and say, no, 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 that's not true. But it's his tax returns. It's what he files with the federal government. This is the one thing that Trump, he can say it's a lie, but nobody's going to believe him because these are his tax returns with his signature at the bottom. So when he says, oh, they lying on me still, they lying on me. No, man, we got your tax returns, you signed them, and you spent a lot of money to prepare them. But, you know, they're full of lies.
Yeah.
And this is what's going to put you behind bars. Imagine how, you know, he's entitled to Secret Service protection till he dies. But where are they going to stay in prison? What Secret Service man is going to guard him in the federal prison? So, and that's where you go when you cheat on your taxes.
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes. Wesley will tell you, this is where you go when you cheat on your taxes. You will see him in there with cornrows and everything else, you know, eating his soup on a bench, you know. This will be the more better than him losing the election. Will be behind going to jail.
He going to be in there with cornrows, though.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, yeah, you know, he's got to be fashionable wherever he goes. He tries to fit in. He tries, bless his heart. You know, he tries to fit in wherever he goes, and you know he'll make the effort. He's a social kind of guy. But you know, our souls say amen.
Yeah, they do.
We know how this will end. We know how this will end. They got Al Capone not for one murder, not for one robbery. They got him on taxes.
Yeah,
and that's where he ended his days. And Wesley and Al. This will not end well. This can't. You know. He fought for 5 years.
And you know what? As hard as he fought to try to hide his taxes, you know that there's something in there. You know that there is something in there that, you know, they're going to find it. I think they'll find it fairly quickly. Like, okay, this is where he was stealing from people. This is where he was defrauding people. This is how he defrauded the U.S. government. And once you do that, you're right. They got Al Capone on taxes, man. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if a man is sitting in his living room and his wife reaches for his cell phone and says, "Let me look through your cell phone," and he says, "No, I'm going to take this to the court. I'm going to take this to the Supreme Court. I'm going to fight like a wild man to keep you from looking into your phone." You can bet your bottom dollar that phone has something that will hang his behind.
That's right.
And that's Mr. Trump. You know, every other candidate has shown his taxes, and that's where we went wrong. When he first refused to show his taxes, he should have been dead. Should have been dead in the water. But I'm a patient man. His life will be over soon enough once he hears those Johnny Cash prison bars slamming behind him.
Well, that's the thing that I keep thinking about with him talking about, I'm going to be the 2024 candidate. Dude, you got all of these legal troubles. You know what I mean? Connected to that riot. You got people who I'm sure are going to file suit against him personally. About that riot. You got to spend money to fight that. I'm sure there are going to be people who are going to file, if it was me, I would, wrongful death lawsuit. If I'm Officer Sicknick's family, the wrongful death lawsuit is against Donald Trump. Because you caused this. So you got to spend money to fight that. You might win, you might not, but you got to spend money to fight it. And then you got the criminal liability with the tax records and everything else that they're looking at. The meddling with the election in Georgia. You know, just all of the stuff that he has to deal with. And he talking about 2024. Dude, you got to get through the day.
Yeah. You're not going to see sundown, my friend. And every single lie on his tax returns is a count. So I'm believing that he will be charged with dozens, if not 100 or more, single counts of lying and cheating. You lie on this statement, that's a count. We can charge you for that. You lie over here, that's a count. We can charge you for that. And so it's going to add up that his tax returns, I don't know how many years they're getting, but his tax returns are many, 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 many pages, and you know those pages contain many, many, many lies.
Yeah.
So for every lie That's a count. That's a criminal count that will be charged against him, and they can, if they want, put his Bahutni under the jail. You know, and we'll see it. We'll hear his sad song. You know, maybe he'll write a book. Maybe he'll write poetry, letters from a federal prison. Who knows? He'll try to make some money somehow.
Yeah, he will. He absolutely will. So I want to talk about the Democratic Party, though, because there's some infighting happening in the Democratic Party with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez going at the Biden administration over reopening a Texas facility to detain migrant children. The Biden administration says it's temporary and they only opened it for COVID-19 safety. AOC wasn't trying to hear it. She tweeted, "This is not okay, never has been okay, never will be okay, no matter the administration or the party." Your thoughts, Jay?
Well, first, I'm glad and grateful that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Mellencamp Cougar shortened her name to AOC. Because that other thing was a mouthful, and I'm too old for that mess. But
I hear you. It's a lot.
God bless her, you know. Apart from that, you know, I'm with her all the way. This country finds it way too easy to imprison people of color on some flimsy excuse. Franklin Delano Roosevelt committed the human atrocity of arresting all Japanese Americans and putting them in prison camps on American soil. Mr. Sulu from Star Trek, the Asian gentleman, he was brought up in a prison camp because his whole family was arrested and their property was confiscated. So we do terrible things to people of color. He said that the Japanese Americans were a threat to national security. But FDR, though he was good in many ways, he was also a lying racist. You know, moving brown women and children from small cages to larger cages so they can social distance is not the answer. And I don't necessarily believe Uncle Joe when he says it's temporary. What does temporary mean? I don't know. Is it a year as opposed to 5 years? I don't know what temporary means. These are our brothers and sisters who've been living in those cages without toothbrushes, soap, water, or even mattresses. They sleep on the floor with these little metal foil things over them, pretending to be a blanket. Trump is gone now, and it's time to set them free. I like Uncle Joe, but he's beyond dead wrong. He would never keep white women and white children in cages and claim it's only temporary, grin, and walk away. Since Election Day in November, he should have been planning how to free these beautiful brown people and how to make amends. That's the most important thing. You got to free them and then figure out how to make amends to them. There's vast psychological damage that they've suffered, the educational backsets for them. They haven't been learning. They haven't been studying. They haven't been exercising their minds or social skills. They're going to need a lot of help. Now, we as black folks have been in slavery, and our freedom was always an urgent matter to us. It's wrong and it's evil to deny freedom when it's your power. It's really within your power to grant their freedom. So why withhold it if you can grant it freely? Biden is withholding their freedom, and I don't care what his reasons are. Give them their freedom. Solomon, every day Biden keeps those innocent folks in cages is a black mark against his immortal soul, and AOC is right. It's wrong no matter who does it. If it's Clinton, if it's Obama, if it's Biden, if it's Trump, it's wrong, and I'm glad she's keeping the heat on Uncle Joe because he needs to push on this.
No, I think you're right, and I think she's right, and I think you don't treat human beings that way. Now, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how they fix it, but they got to fix it because this can't continue. And again, you mentioned Obama. Now, Obama locked up kids too.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not whitewash it. Let's not act like, this didn't happen. And so the question is, what do you do now? How do you fix that? How do you change that? Because that, we can't go around talking about America's so great and America is the, land of freedom and opportunity and all of this stuff. And you got kids in cages. Like that's it, Stop with the hypocrisy. We've had a history of hypocrisy. And guess what? If that is going to change, then it has to begin now. And what better place to do it than to stop treating these kids like they've killed somebody. You know, they came here, they looking for freedom, you know, whatever. Okay, it's against the law, whatever. Was it against the law when y'all did it? You know, so you know, what are you going to do different? And I think that's the question I have, Jay. What's the answer? How do you fix it?
Well, you know, he didn't, when he came in, he didn't have an answer on how to pep up the COVID testing. He didn't have an answer on how to get more vaccines and how to get the vaccines out there to everybody. But he hired smart folks, and he ordered them to figure it out. And it's working. You know, he's got buses going up to the hilltops in the country to find these people who aren't really connected to society and get them the vaccine. He's pressing members of the Army to start injecting people. He's using Rite Aids and other pharmacies around the country to start giving vaccines. So he figured it out. And what he's got to do is put the same energy behind these brown people in cages and hire some smart people and say, figure it out and figure it out quick. That's all a president needs to say. They've got that kind of power. So the fact that they're sitting there means he hasn't told somebody to figure it out and set them free. They're not a back burner issue. These are human lives. And if he's, you know, we see Biden at church all the time. We see him at Mass all the time. And before we call him a hypocrite, he better get his behind in gear and set these people free. It's a crime that we still have to use that phrase, set my people free. But we do, and we got to keep it on this old man and make him give freedom, because it's within his power to grant freedom.
Yeah, I hear you, Jay, and I think that you're right. You know, so that of course is an issue about immigration, and it's one of the things that they're dealing with. I will ask you this, man, in terms of black issues, because we got to keep our issues front and center. You know, what is the issue to you that Joe Biden has to handle that is a black issue, that is just as much of an emergency that he has to handle right now?
Well, he really hasn't dealt with black issues too much. He's dealing with COVID. He's trying to get our relationship straight with the European countries. He had a teleconference with the Prime Minister of Canada the other day. He seems to not be moving into black issues yet. But there's that bill in Congress, in the House of Representatives, that they're going to call it the George Floyd Act to reform American police. So when that gets passed in the House and then goes over to the Senate, and I think they will only need 51 votes to pass it, and so they should be able to, then he's got something to sign, a bill he can sign about police reform, but that still won't be his own handiwork. It'll be the work of the people like AOC and Maxine Waters in the House of Representatives. So he hasn't moved on racial issues yet. He's been, you know, pushing on his COVID relief bill to get those checks out and to fund all kinds of other reforms in terms of how we deal with the virus and deal with the economy. But racial issues aren't front and center with him yet. But the House of Representatives are going to put it on his table. I'm sure he'll sign it, but I'd like to see him out there swinging at the pitches that are coming at our heads. I'd like to see him dig in for us early to set the tone of racial justice. He's been great memorializing the people who've died of COVID, but I think there's room on his desk to take care of us too.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think the legislation that you named is it. I think that's the first thing that I want to see him do. He's got to sign that George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. It deals with qualified immunity. It deals with the issue of these federal civil rights cases where, you know, these police keep getting off because they have to willfully violate somebody's civil rights. And that word has been the turning point on so many of these cases where they're we can't prove that it's willful. You know, it looks bad and all of that, but we can't prove it's willful. We got to let them off. And it's happened in one case after another. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act addresses that and a few more things that are leading to the deaths of black people. So I think that's the thing. He has to sign that bill when it comes to his desk. And then I will believe that you are you know, fighting for black people.
I hear you. I hear you 1,000,000%. I'm with you 1,000% on that. That'll be the test.
Yep. Absolutely. That is Jay McCalla. Jay McCalla, of course, is a veteran political consultant. His work has been published in the Philadelphia Inquirer, Philadelphia Magazine, and the Chestnut Hill Local. He held senior positions in both the Rendell and Street administration. He brings deep knowledge to politics and does so from an African-American perspective. Jay, thanks so much.
Always an honor.
All right, we're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show with your calls, 215-634-8065. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Celebrating Black history all day, every day. Maddie Humphreys.
You can't proclaim that people have inalienable rights from a common creator and say you own some of those people.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Philadelphia, independent Black media.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Hello, entrepreneurs, especially if you're in the food delivery space. CBD is one of the fastest growing health and wellness categories out today. And as it is now legal, you can expand your customer base and increase revenues per ticket by using this as a specialty food offering. CBDmealsdelivered.com is now for sale and would be a perfect website to integrate with your existing food delivery website. Thank you.
WURD Radio celebrates Black History Month with Black Artist Story 365, brought to you by Southwest Leadership Academy Charter School.
Welcome to Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. Get into this episode where we explore the art and artistry of Academy, Emmy, and Golden Globe award-winning actress, director, and producer, Regina King. Part 1. Regina Renee King was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and grew up in Los Angeles, California. In 1985, she played the role of Brenda Jenkins on the television series 227. You remember Brenda? Miss Mary's daughter. Then she went on to play in just about every iconic Southern California Black coming-of-age film in the repertoire. It started with John Singleton's Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, and Higher Learning. In 1995, she was featured in the iconic film Friday. The next year, she starred with Martin Lawrence in A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, and then she was in Jerry Maguire as Marcy Tidwell. You know, the wife of Academy Award winner Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character. In the movie Enemy of the State, she played Will Smith's character's wife. Child, Regina King done been in How Stella Got Her Groove Back, Mighty Joe Young, Down to Earth, Daddy Daycare, Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde, A Cinderella Story, Ray, Miss Congeniality 2, Armed and Fabulous, and the iconic This Christmas, to name a smattering. Lest we forget is Queen Duchess Regina King's iconic voice of both Huey and Riley Freeman for the animated series The Boondocks. For the culture. So that's it for this episode of Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. To hear more, tune in to The Envy McKee Show, Friday nights, 7 to 10 p.m., right here on WURD.
Black Artist Story 365 was brought to you by Southwest Leadership Academy Charter School and the Pennsylvania Lottery. Get to winning with Win, 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 the new scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery, with top prizes of $500,000. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing sites at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. A second testing location has been added at Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School. Testing is on Wednesdays and Fridays. For testing hours and more information, visit jeffersonhealth.org/community testing.
You're waking up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and we are taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in. You can also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. Want to remind you that WURD Radio is a small business. We are a focus team of hosts, producers, and staffs doing everything we can to serve black people. We're dedicated to putting the needs of black people front and center every day, and we honor the names of those who've made black history. Yes, there's Dr. King, Shirley Chisholm, Marcus Garvey, Toni Morrison, Malcolm X, and the list goes on. But how are you making black history? This is one of the most challenging times in our history, and we need you to stand with us for just $90 a year. Just 24 cents a day, you can take action. Let us know that what we do matters to you. Sign up today at wordradio.com/join now. Upon checkout, type in the name of a person in black history that you honor or the host that sent you, and be heard. Find more information at wordradio.com/join now. So we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And I talked about getting out the house for a minute yesterday. I'll be out the house for a couple of hours on Saturday. I'm going to be at Eatable Delights up in my area on Wadsworth Avenue, signing a couple of my books, hanging out with David Sims. So we'll be up there this weekend at noon, and you can check me out there. That'll be this Saturday at noon at Eatable Delights. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065 is the number. Of course, people also weighing in on Facebook, Kawesa, at ForWord. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. What are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So a few more comments that we have here. Andre Terry is saying, good morning, Solomon, Kawesa, WURD family, and everyone. Also, Juanita Bryant, she says, Jay McCalla hits grand slams every week. Today is no exception. Thanks to both of you. So that's another comment that we have. And then we have, pull this up, Carol Keller saying, we should reunite the children with their parents, give them all therapy, give them a place to live until they can be legally processed into this country where they can get a job and take care of themselves and their families. That's the least this country can do for what we've done to them. And then we also have here Chris Potter saying President Biden signed an executive order regarding racism toward the Asian American community. And then he has like the shrug hands emoji there. And so that's another comment. Gail Robinson says, this is why I can't get too broken up over the AOC thing. We need to focus on black issues. So that's another comment. Sherry Vaughn says, no one should be held in cages like animals. I agree. And then also Regina Neely says, like Biden really cares if those poor suffering people in those cages get COVID-19. So that's another comment. And then we also have, let me just go and pull this up because somebody had made a comment. I think it was, it might have been Miss Lynn from Darby. She actually said, Jay, can you cornrow a dry, brittle orange and gray-haired piece? So that's another comment that we have here as well. Renee Andrea says, Jay, they are not legal citizens. They are not allowed in the USA, period. So, that's another comment that we have. But yep, those are a few more comments that we have here. I think lastly, Rovetta Everett Gilmore says, I agree, Jay, white immigrants would never be kept in cages. And she's absolutely right about that. So yep, keep them coming.
The whole legal, illegal thing cracks me up because it's like, was it legal for y'all to come and kill the Native Americans, take their land, and put them on reservation? Was that legal? You know what I mean? So you let me get this straight. You do it to other people, right? And then you try to make it illegal for anybody else. Okay, hurry up. Let's put some laws on the book. Let's make it illegal for anybody else to come here because they might do the same thing to us that we did to them. Like, nah, was it illegal when you did it? You understand what I'm saying? So, like, all of that, I'm real sensitive to history, right? And real sensitive to the fact that, you have a people who will do this thing to other people and then put laws on the books to try to make it impossible for other people to take advantage of the opening that they did, right? So that's one. The other thing that I'm very sensitive about, and I learned this from my wife, she was an African American Studies minor at Temple University, right? Is that for the larger American society, right? For the white society here in America, law equals justice, right? But for us, I look at what Martin Luther King said, which is really based on biblical principles, that an unjust law is no law at all, right? And so if it's unjust, is it really a law? And if it wasn't a law for you, why is it a law for everybody else? Like, I'm real sensitive about that. And in spite of all of that, and in addition to all of that, really, I'm still focused on what needs to happen for black folks. And the first thing that I believe needs to happen for black folks is the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act has to be passed. Because we are losing our lives at the hands of police. If a police officer actually has the nerve to put a 13-year-old boy in a chokehold as the black community stands by and watches and films it, then they completely out of hand. If the people who stormed the Capitol were coming in with badges talking about, I'm a police officer, let me in, then they are out of hand. If they can kill Tamir Rice and nobody goes to jail, he's 12 years old, then they're out of hand. And so that has to be the very first thing that we deal with. That has to be the first thing that we deal with, not only for us, but for those police officers, and they do exist, who are actually out there trying to do the job and do it right in our community. Like, you gotta pass that first. And then the second thing that has to happen, you got to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. You have to pass that because right now, as I speak, Republican legislators across the country at the state level are rushing to change laws and change voting so that we can't vote. That's what they're doing. That's, while we sleeping, they plotting. That's what they're doing right now. And so these two things have to happen for black people. They have to in this country. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show, including our top three stories, which are story number one: a 22-year-old West Philadelphia man was expected to be charged Wednesday with raping a 55-year-old woman in the bathroom of the Center City Macy's after police said he waited in a stall for 20 minutes, jumped into the women's stall when she walked in, attacked her while brandishing kitchen skewers, and threatened to kill her. So we are glad he is in custody. Story number two: a close ally of Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene took part in the January 6th mob at the Capitol and said he was among those who eventually made their way into the building. And yeah, Greene, a freshman congresswoman with a history of promoting dangerous and violent conspiracies and comments, encouraged the big lie that the election was stolen from former President Donald Trump by voting to object to the election, and fan the flames of the insurrection by telling her supporters to fight for Trump. But, you know, her ally, this guy, Anthony Aguero, said, look, no, it wasn't Black Lives Matter and Antifa dressed up as Trump supporters that stormed the Capitol. It was us. We did this, and we refuse to allow them to take any of the shine for doing that. We did it, and that's it. And, of course, story number three: the Baton Rouge Police Department investigating an arrest captured on video Sunday that shows an officer wrapping his arm around the neck of a black teenager, a 13-year-old boy. That cannot be allowed. And so we need to talk about that. I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Kawesa, when you think about this thing with this cop putting this 13-year-old in the chokehold, what do you think?
I honestly, I think of, you know, the same things that you think about. You know, Tamir Rice is the first person that pops into my head. And it's mainly because of the fact that I think Tamir Rice and Trayvon Martin, for me, that really, those two really triggered me when it happened. You know, and mainly because it's like, but I mean, it's the same thing with you know, our brothers and sisters who are going through this as well. But when it's a child, it cuts me a little deeper, because I'm just like, these are babies, and it bothers me so much, because they really we know that they're looking at us and they don't see us as human, but the fact that they can't even see our babies, our children, as children, they you know, they turn them into adults. They say, oh, you know, this man was walking, you know, and they're kids. They're babies, and they're so innocent, and they're full of life. And then guess what? That interaction with the cop, when that happened, it's going to follow this young boy throughout the rest of his life. He's going to need therapy. He's going to need to be able to make sure that he stays on the up, because that's the type of thing that affects you. It impacts you spiritually, emotionally, and the fact that he went through this, and then everyone in the community who's filming it, they're powerless to stop it.
Yeah.
You know, because they're afraid. They're you know, they don't know what to do either. So all they could do is take out their phones, film it, and then hope for the best that, you know, someone will put charges up against this cop. But these cops out here are continuously being able to keep their jobs and suffer no type of consequences for their actions. And it's so sickening. And it's so infuriating, because, you know, we're trying to live. The majority of us are just out here trying to live our best lives, and we can't even do that because of blatant racism.
Yeah. And whole systems that protect it. And so, you know, the one thing that I've learned in looking at all of these cases is that you have different levels of systems that protect these things, man. You know, you have DAs who choose, right, to use grand juries, which are secret proceedings where only they control what information goes to the jurors. There is no cross-examination. There is no defense or anything like that. But they go into these grand jury processes and they almost act like, not almost, they do. They function as the defense for the police rather than prosecutors who are looking to indict and charge someone so that they can go to trial. Now, you know, the way that it's supposed to work and the way that it works with everybody else is that if, in fact, there is a grand jury proceeding, right, the prosecutor goes in and they present evidence to lead the grand jurors to a result that will result in a prosecution and this person being charged. And then they go before a jury of their peers. And if you found guilty, you found guilty. If you found innocent, you found innocent. But let the people decide. Let it go to trial. But the prosecutors, in many of these cases, are acting as the defense of the police. It is absolutely insane. And so, you know, it has to change. It has to change. Olanian from Nicetown is on line 1. Go ahead, Olanian.
Hi, I wanted to respond to the boy who was being choked by the police officer.
Yes.
What we have is history repeating itself. There is a vicious mindset of some people, and yes, many of them are white, most of them are white, who have this mindset. It's the same kind of mindset of the man who, years ago, kicked a pregnant black woman so hard and so many oftentimes until a baby came out of her stomach. That's the mindset. It's vicious. That's all I got to say, brother.
All right, thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show right here on WURD.
Okay, Her's new fire potato chips and cheese curls, they are spicy. Whew, they're hottest snacks yet. Hold on. Whew. But you know, it's not just heat. There's some nice sweet and savory stuff going on too. Ooh, there's that heat again. It burns, but it burns so tasty. Ooh, that's hot. Find Her's Fire Snacks at your store today. Whew. Taste the flavor, feel the heat, break out the Hers.
Word Radio celebrates Black History Month with Black Artist Story 365. Brought to you by AARP, Thomas Jefferson, and New Voices for Reproductive Justice.
Welcome to Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. Get into this episode where we explore the art and artistry of Trinidadian American, Tony Award-winning actor, voice actor, singer, dancer, composer, choreographer, costume designer, visual artist, and director, Jeffrey Holder. Part 1. King star Uncle Jeffrey was an August Leo, born Jeffrey Lamont Holder of Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, the youngest of 5 children of Louise de France and Arthur Holder, who had immigrated from Barbados. Bosco Holder taught Jeffrey painting and dancing and recruited him to join a small folkloric dance troupe he had formed, the Holder Dancing Company. Bosco was 16, listen, and Jeffrey was 7. Okay? When Bosco left for London, Jeffrey was left in charge of the dance company as its director and lead performer. Soon after arriving in Brooklyn, he joined the Catherine Dunham's dance school, where he taught folkloric forms for 2 years. From 1955 to 1956, he performed with the Metropolitan Opera Ballet as a principal dancer. He left the ballet to make his Broadway debut in the Harold Arlen and Truman Capote musical House of Flowers. While working on House of Flowers, he met Alvin Ailey, with whom he later worked extensively, and his future wife and muse, Carmen de Lavallade. After the show closed, he starred in an all-black production of Waiting for Godot in 1957. As a choreographer, because you know he's got all them lists of things that he was masterful at, Holder created dance pieces for many companies, including Alvin Ailey, American Dance Theater, for which he provided choreography, music, and costumes for Prodigal Prince in 1967, and the Dance Theater of Harlem, for which he provided choreography, music, and costumes for Douglas in 1974. He was director, costume designer, and choreographer, as we mentioned, in The Wiz in 1974. And in 1978, he directed and choreographed the Broadway musical Timbuktu. So that's it for this episode of Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. To hear more, tune into The Envy McKee Show, Friday nights, 7 to 10 p.m., right here on WURD.
Black Artist Story 365 was brought to you by AARP Pennsylvania, Thomas Jefferson, and New Voices for Reproductive Justice.
Hey folks, WURD members are invited to tune in every second Tuesday of the month with me, Nick, for a chance to win a book bundle of the newest releases from Kensington Publishing's culturally oriented Dafina imprint.
Tune in this Saturday at 10 a.m. for the Educational Pulse with the School District of Philadelphia with host Dr. William Haidt.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones, right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM,
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now is Munira Higgs. She's a retired Lawnside, New Jersey, third grade social studies teacher. And Linda Shockley. She's the president of the Lawnside Historical Society. They join us to talk about the rich black history of Lawnside, New Jersey. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks
All
for
right.
inviting us.
You are so welcome. So, Linda Shockley, I want to start with you. So, I've heard a lot about Lawnside, New Jersey. I know black people from Lawnside, New Jersey. Tell us where this black history in Lawnside begins.
Well, our history begins with the country, with colonial time. We traced our community to the 1700s. We have people here whose families were essential in setting up the settlements. Our AME Church, Mount Pisgah AME, was organized in 1792. So we have a lot of history. There's a connection to the Philadelphia Vigilance Committee, to people who are opposed to slavery, the Society of Friends, and then black people who decided that they wanted to be free and to free themselves. It's a natural impulse for human beings to be free. And so while a lot of abolitionists of different ethnicities were helpful, essentially freedom seekers took it upon themselves, and they found this little wooded area to establish themselves in.
And so when you looked at that history, what jumped out at you in that history that people don't really know about, Linda Shockley?
Well, what jumps out at me is that people don't really realize how resourceful and ingenious people were at that time and determined to establish themselves as free people, self-governing people at that. So there were people who had their own businesses, who traded among themselves, who bartered among themselves, and built the community up, banded together, realizing, the true value of themselves and working together to establish a community. So that's one of the enduring lessons for me, the idea of Lawnside and the idea of these communities.
Give me a name that jumps out of history when you look at what happened in Lawnside.
Well, the name that we focus on is Peter Mott. And unfortunately, we don't know a lot about Mr. Mott, except that he was a preacher, a farmer. I call him a real estate mogul because when we look into the 1840s and we see the different deeds in the county office of records, we see that he sold property to people so that we have a Watkins Avenue, and he sold that property to Charles Watkins. We have a Thomas Avenue. He sold that property to Stephen Thomas. We have a Haney Avenue. He sold that property to Mr. Haney. So he was doing all of these things. When we look at the census before the Civil War, he and his wife say that they were born in New Jersey. And we know that New Jersey gradually abolished slavery in 1804. And then after the Civil War, his wife says she was born in Virginia, and he says he was born in Delaware, which, Delaware did not secede from the Union, but it never embraced the Union cause, and obviously Virginia was a slaveholding state. So was he a fugitive? Was he a freedom seeker who then turned around and started to help other people as an agent of the Underground Railroad in his own home?
Fascinating stuff. And so, Munira Higgs, this is something that is now being taught. You're teaching this. How did that come about, teaching this history through your visualizing your past curriculum?
Okay, so let me just go back. I taught at Lawnside School for 32 years, and I was the social studies teacher. So growing up in this town, I always had a passion to teach about the history of the town, because the Lawnside Historical Society, based on Peter Mott, all this information started coming out. I started doing the research. So my passion while I taught at the school was to teach the history of this town. And so my partner, I had been speaking with the superintendent about going back and teaching because I wanted to continue to teach during Black History Month or sometimes during the year. Never got to it. I was putting my lessons together, and then my partner called. She said, Shamel Jordan, and she said, we can do this as a partnership. Let's do this. So I'm like, okay, then let's do it. So Shamel and I partnered together, and we did this program, Black History Month cards, and that's how it all came about. And we started putting together the content and the programs, what was going to be on the cards. And I basically gave a lot of content on the cards, you know, the history part of the cards. And so we just built it. We worked on it for over a year. And I was just so happy that I could come back into the school along with Shamel and do this important history with our children.
How have the children responded to it?
It's been amazing. Wow. It's just been profound to see their faces, to see the projects, because each week we give them 5 cards a week, and they have to do a challenge on one of the cards. So, and we meet up with them once a week, and we discuss. I go over the 5 cards. I teach about the 5 cards. They choose one. And some of the things that they didn't know, the expressions on their faces when they light up and they say, wow, I didn't know that, you know, about Lawnside, and how proud they are of the people that they're learning about, the places that they're learning about, is just astounding. And it shows through the challenge, the weekly challenges that they do. We had a young lady to go to the Peter Mott house, and she had a robe. She looked like Harriet Tubman, and she had another person with her, and we're knocking on the door saying, we're going to stay here for tonight. You know, just all kind of phenomenal stuff. One kid did an emoji, a story of Roscoe Moore, you know, just history coming alive. And an artist drew a picture of Jacob White, and I'm just getting excited about some of the things that they have shown that they really care about the town. And that's my whole thing. To know that, you know, you need to care about this town because it's so important. And some of these projects just show. You know, Darren, one kid, he said that he was a relative of Jacob White, and we didn't know that. We had another student who was a relative of the chief of police back in the 1960s. So they're showing these connections, and that's what's important. You know, you live in this town, you have connections. Look at the shoulders that you stand on. So it's been a phenomenal experience with the children.
Linda Shockley, tell us who Jacob White is.
Okay, Jacob C. White was a member of the Philadelphia Vigilance Committee and a contemporary of William Still, and who's considered the father of the Underground Railroad, and also this Quaker that we always heard about, Ralph Smith, who was actually a resident of Northern Liberty. He was instrumental in helping advertise to people in Philadelphia, if you're free and you want a place to live and land to own, come to this place. And they called it Free Haven, but people here called it Snow Hill. Nonetheless, we found people coming to this community in the 1800s because of this push to encourage free African Americans to come live in this community. So Jacob C. White was an important figure, and you find his name on all kinds of deeds, including the property that Peter Mott initially purchased. Jacob C. White is very significant.
So Peter Mott, he's a name that keeps coming up over and over again, and I'm fascinated by your story about the census records where, you know, prior to, he says, yeah, I'm here, I'm from New Jersey, but then later on, he's like, nah, I'm from Virginia, my wife's from Delaware, like, you know, and it shows where they might have come from to come there and really establish what was going on there. Tell us more about Peter Mott.
Well, you know what? We're in the process of trying to do more research about him, because if in fact he was born in a slaveholding state, then we need that expert genealogy that Shamel is known for to try to locate him somehow. He wouldn't have a birth record. If he was born in a slaveholding state, maybe he's listed in an inventory of someone else's holdings or property. So there are all kinds of detective work that needs to go on with him. We have no existing pictures of him. We just have this house. And this house is an artifact. And one of the professors from the University of Maryland said, this house, this two-story house owned by an African-American in the 1800s, is a monument that towers like those Confederate monuments, but this monument celebrates freedom for our people. So it's very important that we were able to save it, and thanks to Clarence Still, who's a descendant of William Still, and so many others who have come before us that kept this history alive and told us these stories. One of the other things people know alongside for a barbecue of a certain generation might know, coming out here on Sundays and going to what we call the park and enjoying that social life. But a lot of people didn't realize that they were passing through these landmarks, these historical landmarks. So it's really a challenge to get to that information about Peter and some of these other families, and hopefully we'll get some of the support that we need to do this research on our founding families, so that we can really tell much richer, fuller stories about these people's lives.
That's Linda Shockley. She's the president of the Lawnside Historical Society. And we're also talking with Munira Higgs. She's a retired Lawnside, New Jersey, third grade social studies teacher. And they teach a curriculum called Visualizing Your Past. And so, you know, I'm listening to these stories, and I am, you know, filled with a sense of pride about the fact that these people who, and what makes the story even more fascinating, is if they in fact came out of slavery, escaped from these states, came to Lawnside, were able to establish themselves, make money, buy property, establish this town. Like, I'm just, you know, I'm amazed by this story. And I'm wondering about what you plan to do with this curriculum. Do you plan to expand it beyond what you're doing now, Ms. Higgs?
Well, you know, that's something to think about. We didn't know it was going to explode like it did. So you have to talk with boards of education. While I was at teaching, I need to go back just a little bit. I tried to infuse it into all of the different areas of math, reading, whatever. So now that's what we need to do, try to infuse it into the different areas of the curriculum. So that has to be done through, hopefully beginning with Dr. Johnson, who's the superintendent at Lawnside School. He's been very gracious in accepting this program. So perhaps we are going to get back with him, first of all. And we've had calls from other school districts, but we weren't ready for this. So hopefully, yes, absolutely, it should be carried on throughout the year and infused into the different subject areas. So I can't say for sure what's going to happen with it, but we will surely be working in those areas to get that done.
That's Munira Higgs. Also spoke with Linda Shockley about just the fascinating Black history of Lawnside, New Jersey. And I have one more question, and I'm curious about this, just knowing the arc of history and what has happened when Black folks have established themselves and have done well. Usually there is some pushback against that. Did any of that happen, Linda Shockley, in Lawnside, and what was the result?
You know, at one point, Lawnside was incorporated as a borough in 1926 by the state legislature. And at one point in the 1930s, there were cross burnings here. Because the way the lines were established, there was a section that actually had Caucasian residents in it, and they were adamantly opposed to sending their children to the public school with children from Lawnside, and so they found themselves falling on hard times during the Depression, unable to continue to send their children to public school. And so there was a cross burning here, and we have had incidents over the decades and the years. We've agitated for African American history in the high school that we attend because our system only goes from K to 8. We had these beautiful teachers who inspired us and told us that we could accomplish anything and that we were equal to anyone. And then we got into the high school, and our history basically disappeared. So we agitated for African-American history back in the 60s, and we haven't seen that total commitment and, once again, infusing that through the curriculum. African-American history is part of American history. And world civilizations, you can't have world civilizations without talking about Africa. So we were very fortunate, my generation at least, to have those courses and that period of self-determination that really made a difference in the education that we got. And I just want to add, if I can, that Mrs. Higgs made 3 documentary films about Lawnside with the Scribe Video Center. And one of them includes the story of Mount Peace Cemetery, which is 11 acres on the White Horse Pike, where we also have the grave of John Henry Lawson, who was a Congressional Medal of Honor winner during the Civil War. And he was a Philadelphian who had to come to New Jersey in order to be buried because, segregation continued through the grave.
All right. So I want to thank you both for joining us this morning on WURD Radio. Munira Higgs, a retired Lawnside, New Jersey, 3rd grade social studies teacher, teaches the curriculum Visualizing Your Past. Also, Linda Shockley, president of the Lawnside Historical Society Incorporated. Very quickly, a number or a website where we can get more information.
You can go to the Lawnside Historical Society's Facebook page, the Facebook Lawnside Historical Society, and you can get more information there.
All right. I want to thank you both for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you for having us. It's my pleasure.
All right. All right. So we're going to go to break. On the other side, it's What's Trending, and then right back to your calls. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
WURD Radio celebrates Black History Month with Black Artist Story 365. Brought to you by Southwest Leadership Academy Charter School.
Welcome to Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. Get into this episode where we explore the art and artistry of revolutionary poet Gil Scott Heron. King Gil was born in Chicago, Illinois. His mother, Bobby Scott, was an opera singer who performed with the New York Oratorio Society. His father, Gil Heron, nicknamed the Black Arrow, was a Jamaican soccer player in the 1950s who became the first black man to play for the Celtic Football Club in Glasgow. What? Heron decided to attend Lincoln University because Langston Hughes, his most important literary influence, was an alumnus. After about 2 years at Lincoln, he took a year off to write the novels The Vulture and The Nigger Factory. Uncle Gil was very heavily influenced by the Black arts movement and the Last Poets. Although King Uncle Gil never completed his undergraduate degree, he was admitted to the writing seminars at Johns Hopkins University, where he received an MA, that's a Master of Arts, in Creative Writing. His music, most notably on the albums Pieces of a Man and Winter in America in the early 1970s, influenced and foreshadowed later black music genres such as hip-hop and neo-soul. King Duke Uncle Gil is considered by many to be the first rapper/MC ever. His recording work received much critical acclaim, especially one of his best-known compositions, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised.
You will not be able to stay home, brother.
Given the political consciousness that lies at the foundation of his work, we'll say Star Uncle Gil was the founder of political rap.
You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised.
So that's it for this episode of Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. To hear more, tune in to The Envy McKee Show, Friday nights, 7 to 10 p.m., right here on WURD.
Black Artist Story 365 was brought to you by Southwest Leadership Academy Charter School and the Pennsylvania Lottery. Get to winning with Win, 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 the new scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery, with top prizes of $500 grand. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Are you tired of eating the same thing day after day? Is ordering takeout starting to get a little old? If so, then give Premium Nutrition Meals a try. With Premium Nutrition Meals, you get to select new entrees each week from several different menus, all chef-crafted, freshly prepared, and delivered right to your door. Just go to PremiumNutritionMeals.com to order to earn rewards today. Word listeners receive $10 off orders of 6 meals or more. Enter code PREMIUMWORD at checkout.
Olaniyan Adefume, author of the Book of Questions, needs your help. He is seeking out responses for an updated version of the Book of Questions Series 2. The topics of the book cover issues of religion, race, sex, economics, politics, and health. One example would be, what do you think of the Capitol riot of January 6, 2021? For more information, reach out to him directly at 215-678-3830 or email him at oadefumi@yahoo.com.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD. Here's what's trending.
Yo, that's crazy.
On Wake Up with Word.
Black history fact, Daniel Hale Williams pursued a pioneering career in medicine. An African-American doctor, in 1891, Williams opened Provident Hospital, the first medical facility to have an interracial staff. He was also one of the first physicians to successfully complete pericardial surgery on a patient. Williams later became chief surgeon of the Freedmen's Hospital.
And in his new podcast, President Barack Obama revealed he broke his childhood friend's nose for using a racial slur. He says, I had a friend, we played basketball together, and one time we got into a fight, and he called me a coon. Now, first of all, ain't no coons in Hawaii, right? It's one of those things where he might not have even known what a coon was. What he knew was, I can hurt you by saying this. I popped him in the face and broke his nose. It was just reactive.
And music legend Gladys Knight has been tapped to sing the national anthem at the 2021 NBA All-Star Game in Atlanta next month. The festivities will also pay tribute to historically black colleges and universities with performances by HBCU marching bands, step teams, glee clubs, and choirs. Knight is an Atlanta native and a graduate of Shaw University, one of the nation's oldest HBCUs. And that is what's trending.
All right, so that's what's trending right here on WURD Radio, and we want to hear from you. You can certainly give us a call at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we're talking about on this morning's show. That history of Lawnside, New Jersey, Kuwaisa, just fascinating stuff.
Oh, I love it. One of the things that I think I was texting to you is the fact that growing up, before apps and all that, my mother did a lot of that research, and she would take us to see these stops on the Underground Railroad, and she would talk to us about what happened there, and also we went to one of the Still family reunions that they had one year. And I played T-ball out in Lawnside. There's a lot of rich Black history in Lawnside. And I always love it when I can hear about our people and how amazing we are. And I'm just over here beaming. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my people. I just love my people. So it was great. But I'm glad that our guests were able to really just, show how rich of history we have, and right over the bridge, 20 minutes away,
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, they said something about barbecues. I didn't want to, show my whole card, but now when is this barbecue now? When does this take place?
I know that we would go to some of the barbecues over the summer that they had, and the food was really, really good. Mm-hmm. Oh man. And it would be like so many different, like you could just smell, that's another good memory too. Sorry, I'm like.
That's the part I was back. Like, yo, let's talk about that. But I said, let me not be ignorant.
Yeah, no, the food was always good, and it always smelled so good. I remember, I can smell it now, which is crazy because it's been decades for me since I went to one of those barbecues. But oh my gosh, I can taste it. I can taste the food.
Let's have some of that.
Right.
Oh man. So absolutely that history in Lawnside, New Jersey, just fascinating thing, man. And Black folks, just making a way and then going beyond that, and of course you can learn more about it. You can go to petermotthouse.org /museum and learn more about that. That's Peter Mott, PETERMOTT house.org, and learn more about that stop on the Underground Railroad. So we want to hear from you. You can certainly give us a call, 215-634-8065. Dolores is on line 3 from Lawnside. Good morning, Dolores.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm well. I'm blessed.
Good.
Yes. I just wanted to speak on the presentation on Lawnside history.
Yeah.
I am a lifetime Lawnside resident who has experienced a lot of the history from Lawnside, and also Manira Higgs is my biological sister.
All right.
I'm very proud of. So I just, the presentation that they gave was excellent. It was on point. They didn't miss too much, but they missed a lot.
They only had a few minutes, so
time constraint,
don't hold it against them.
Oh, no, not at all. They did an excellent job, and Linda is so knowledgeable of the history of Lawnside, and thank God for her and Manira. And I just wanted to, put my little piece in it and admire them for what they did and what they said. I experienced a lot. I experienced the park. I was young when the park was up and running, so that was a wonderful experience. We had the race cars and the motorcycle racetrack, and so it was just a beautiful experience to be raised in Lawnside.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. We only got 2 minutes left, so we got to get to these other folks. Maurice from Southwest is on line 2. Go ahead, Maurice.
Hey, Solomon, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you bringing that Black history. People need to learn that, and I hope the next time you get to Chester, too, because people got to know a lot about that I-95 pushed a lot of rich Black folks back in the day out of there by them putting that highway there. And the last thing I want to say, I heard that Grapevine is going to sing the national anthem for the basketball, right?
Who is?
And Jasmine Sullivan did it for the football. When are we going to learn to stop singing that song, man?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's our biggest issue, but I hear you.
It's a start. It's a start.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because we got to stand for something. We keep bending when we say we're going to stand for something, and we just let it go out the window. But Solomon, what a great show. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD Kuwait. If they offer you to sing the national anthem, guess what? Sing the national anthem. Come on, man.
I hear you.
What?
Yeah, what I love Auntie Gladys, like I do. Word on the street is that I'm related to her, so I'm giving her her flowers and hand claps while I still can. I love her voice. Like I'll watch it. You know what
I mean?
Yeah.
They give you a national platform to sing that. Lord, just don't sing the third verse. That's all.
Nope.
Friendly Fred from Philly is on line one. Go ahead, Friendly Fred.
Oh, thank you. Dear Lord, what's that word, family? Dear Lord, our heart's desire is to live in harmony and unity with each other. Bind your love to our hearts so we can live in perfect unity together. Teach us to care for our family members and forgive others their mistake. Dear God, we thank you that if we ask for wisdom, you freely gives it to us. Thank you, Salman.
All right, Friendly Fred, thank you for your call this morning. That's going to do it for today's show on WURD. I want to thank all of our guests, including Linda Shockley from the Lawnside Historical Society, Munira Higgs, who teaches the Visualizing Your Past program. Also want to thank political commentator Jay McCalla, and of course Kristen Graham from the Philadelphia Inquirer. And I want to thank each and every one of you. And now, for super producer Kawesa Mathis and everyone here at WURD Radio, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying stay tuned for Reality Check, City Council Live with Charles Ellison. Tune in tomorrow at 7 for more. Wake up with Word. Peace.